Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Blueprints. It's that time again to start a new draft. Let's get it going with day 7. Day 6 was a lot of fun. We got to draft the shelter as one of our new rooms, and we learned some pretty juicy stuff in there. A letter written by Courtney, who in retrospect I think I said she was our aunt, but she's actually our mom's cousin, which I think makes her our cousin once removed. I always get that mixed up with first cousin, so don't quote me on that. But regardless, it was very, very. There were some of the revelations or the accusations even that were in her letter. Stuff about red guards, red crowns, Blackwater insurgents, and the idea that perhaps Herbert, our great uncle, was maybe responsible for some sort of disappearance of our mother, maybe even kidnapping. Not exactly sure about that. But the only way to know for sure is to keep on drafting. And so we will start here on the West Path, drafting the outer room. Let's go ahead and open up our pack and see what we get. Okay. We have finally been offered the hovel next to a couple options that we've already drafted. We did draft the tool shed once, although we didn't really get to make a lot of use out of the items. One of them was a battery pack, I think, which we've never used yet, and also a wrench, which I don't think quite understood what it did, or I mean, I haven't used it yet, so I really don't know its power level, but after going through reviewing my footage, it's able to adjust the rarity of mechanical rooms, which I'm not that could potentially be very powerful. Being able to make something like the boiler room very common, or even the office, although the office is not mechanical. So anyway, there are who knows what other special items the tool shed could have, and I do want to pick this one again. However, let's go with the new option today. We're gonna try this out, and this will give us some direction to our draft right off the bat. And that is the one thing I do like about most of these rooms. I wasn't sure, and maybe still I'm not sure whether this is a room you should draft right off the bat, but it feels too convenient. You're right outside. It does cost a few extra steps to the beginning of your run, but the potential upsides could be very, very, I mean, it gives, like I said, it gives your draft direction, and being able to draft floor plans for steps instead of gems it all depends on the exchange rate. Is it 1 step per gem, or is it going to cost more than that? Let's find out. Let's pick the hovel, and because it is a new room, of course, we have to read the flavor and see what we've got here. A squalid dwelling on the edge of this estate belonging to one of the groundskeepers. Okay, it does count as a dead end for whatever that's worth. I suppose that could come into play with. All these are all dead ends, right? None of these rooms here all the outer rooms would be considered a dead end, so this doesn't apply to them. I'm just thinking. My min-max brain is thinking about the constellations. I think there's one of the eventual rewards from the observatory, where we would be able to have dead end rooms be more common. So here we have the hovel. We do have a dig site here, so we may have already some extra incentive to see if we can get our hands on a shovel. And then there's a note here. Notice of termination. This is written by Ann Babbage, house manager, to Dear Mr. Ravane. Okay, here's a little more detail maybe on this Denny Ravane, who we've come across a couple times in our note perusal. Your half-hearted dedication and maintenance of the grounds have been greatly appreciated. Talk about a backhanded compliment. However, I regret to inform you that your services as the grounds, that's not even a backhanded compliment. That's a straight up diss if you ask me. However, I regret to inform you that your services as the groundskeeper at Mount Holly will no longer be required, effective immediately. This decision has been made after careful consideration and is based upon repeated observations and documented instances of neglect in the performance of your duties. The state of the green rooms, in particular, has deteriorated significantly over the last few months, which reflects poorly on the rest of the staff. You are required to vacate the hovel by the 20th of March, ensuring all tools and equipment belonging to the estate are returned to the tool shed in good condition. Your final wages will be settled promptly upon completion of these instructions. We thank you for your time and service and wish you the best in your future endeavors. So does this mean that he was actually living here on the premises? Sort of like, you know, Downton Abbey style? Is that what happened on Downton Abbey? Were there people that were, like the servants would live there, right? They had their quarters on, they would live on the estate as they just never, this was their home. And I was just thinking the way that the in-game universe is recognized as just being canon, the fact that rooms can be drafted and all this stuff. What would it be like, you know, your living quarters? You know, you don't know if you're actually going to have them here from day to day. You know, it's just, it's a total crapshoot as to whether you will actually have a place to sleep at night. So what a way to live. What else can we have here? I noticed the bear traps up here on the wall. Okay. We haven't seen any bears or other wildlife yet. Well, I guess we've seen a hamster inside. That's about the only animal that we've come across. Is there a fire here? Oh, what the fuck? We have... What have we done? Yo. Okay, what the fuck? A blue flame? Oh my goodness. What? We've lit a blue flame back at that little pedestal that we checked out on day one that had an interesting bit of flooring, but I'd never even, what the fuck? So I'm sure we could probably turn this off, although I don't, it gives you another cutscene to let you know, okay, like obviously when you're playing a Miss-like, I mean, you're playing any game, you want to light the torches, not turn them off. So what? But it is interesting that they would let you turn it off. So I just wonder, because the way this game, things like the pump room, being able to divert gas, just like diverting water to various locations in the estate, who knows? But it doesn't seem that as though the gas was having any effect previously, and it's not showing anywhere else in the cutscene that's being affected. So this seems like the intended usage. So a blue flame has been lit. We got to go check that out here in a moment. It's so cool. The part of my brain that loves min-maxing to get all these different synergies with different rooms or cards, building a deck and having all these synergies that play together, different combos that you can pull off. There's definitely that instinct that is really enjoying this game, but also this other layer of this puzzle game, the puzzle game aspect, where you are just finding these seemingly random discoveries in these rooms. There's nothing in that description of the hovel that would ever give you any idea that this is there. So it's like, this is why you draft new rooms when you can, because there is so much unknown to be discovered within them. It's a blast. Another note back here. Oh my goodness, what the fuck? There is a potential code here with, oh my god, okay. Screenshot. What is it? The first thing that I wanted to do, there's a couple, Cat Laser Brain here is getting ready to peruse through some notes. The first thing that I want to, let me just search in my notes for Denny and see if we can just review the stuff that we've learned about him before. I think the note in the mail room that we were able to look at with the magnifying glass said that he was suspected of actually stealing Baron Sinclair's mail. Although, was it proven? Was it just, did they just suspect it because they didn't really like that he was kind of a slacker? There's also, he is also mentioned in the note that we found in the garage, where there was an address. It said the drop-off address is 14227 Sandy Heights. Tomorrow will likely be the last delivery, and I believe Denny already has payment ready. So his name has been mentioned a couple times, but I don't know if the information previously that we've learned, other than the fact that maybe he was stealing the Baron's mail. It's starting, even though we only have a couple little details, it is starting to feel like Denny Ravane could be a much more central character. But I don't know exactly. It's just that he's been mentioned far more than any of the other staff so far. That might just be luck, the fact that we've happened to pick the rooms where he is mentioned. Now, we'll have to see how Denny plays into things. What is this note here? It's a diagram of the house. There's 45 rooms, 9 ranks, 2 starting rooms, and 2 wings. So 2 starting rooms, is that referring to the hovel and the entrance hall? But then there's this code, 45292. Coincidence? What does that mean? Also, the way that it is written has that coloring, which I think matches the billiard room game. The billiard room game has, I think, addition for cyan, subtraction. Well, I'm not exactly sure which colors go with which, but I know that there was yellow, magenta, well, I guess pink, cyan, and violet. And they all correspond to one of the math operations. And we have that worksheet. Let me pull it up here from the locker room. We got perhaps very lucky to open one of the lockers in the locker room that had a torn math worksheet. And it also had the half that we could see, at least, had, well, it only had cyan and yellow numbers. But it immediately brought to mind, in my mind, the billiard room. I thought, oh, there's a math worksheet. The colors, some of them match up with that game. And then there was some other scribbling that talked about it had 6 or O written on it in kind of like a weird, like, grid-like alignment. Like, I wonder if those letters, 6 or O, could they somehow fit here into the 9x5 estate grid? Where is room 46? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And then the last little bit at the bottom, July 5th, 1990, tested my full house theory. No luck, as expected. My full house theory. So I guess this guy, whoever wrote this, Denny perhaps, was Denny trying to get to room 46? Is it possible that he wasn't actually a slacker? Well, maybe he was a slacker because he wasn't actually cleaning up the estate or the grounds like he was supposed to. He was spending all his time thinking about drafting and how to efficiently draft every single room in the house, which is kind of sort of what I've been doing recently since playing this game, because this game is amazing and I can't stop thinking about it. I can relate, Denny. His full house theory. So apparently he was able to draft the entire house, and that did not get him to room 46. Yeah, room 46, it's interesting because we have now kind of gotten a glimpse inside the antechamber, and the door at the top is not, it doesn't have room 46 on it, like we saw in the opening cutscene, the number 46. It has a moon, the rogue moon symbol that we saw in the Alzara cinematic. And also we've seen, I think, Mary in the bedroom, the picture in the bedroom depicting her with that necklace. So yeah, I had initially thought, well, it makes sense that room 46 would just be right above the antechamber, but the way this game is playing out, that feels like not so fast, especially because the moon is the symbol there at the top of the antechamber and not 46. Which would kind of like, that would be like the most logical thing if you were just going to line up the way they played it out in the opening cutscene. Okay. We've taken note of that, and we'll see how, what in the fuck? We drafted the hovel so we could save on gems, because we seem to always be running out of gems, and now we get this. We get so many more layers of information added here, and we get a blue flame. which it might cost me an extra couple steps here. At least it's going to cost me a step to get back onto the grounds. And then I think the flame was down here, which actually is still part of the grounds. So I think we're actually, this is a freebie. So we can actually examine this, but there's only one flame out of what looks like 4. If all 4 of these are probably going to light up, aren't they? Maybe. There's a pipe that goes into this side here. So it could be maybe that only 2 of them light up, unless there is a pipe that can be seen for the others, or the pipe that goes to the other 2 is maybe underground. Can we see it from the side here? I could see a world where it's only 2 that you need to light up. Also, why is this railing partially broken down? I hadn't made... I guess I had looked over the edge here, but I hadn't really thought, why is this? It might just be dilapidated. Maybe this is one of the things that Denny was supposed to fix, and he never got around to it because he was too busy drafting. Wow. What in the world? Now I'm wondering about this bird baths with the funky symbols around it. There's so many things here that could potentially they may not just be scenery. They might have some usage. Curious when we're going to get in there. My brain is going all over the place because this game is too much fun. Let's, though, continue with our draft. Now that we have the hovel, that gives us direction in terms of drafting bedrooms. We want as many bedrooms as possible, but we also there's another synergy there that, we could, now that gems, are we going to be able to spend gems on anything? Are gems completely worthless to us this run? If so, if we're not prioritizing gems, well, we might pick a whole bunch of other rooms, like bedrooms, obviously. But we could also think of maybe looking for the freezer later in the game, because we probably will just pick up some gems as a result of drafting bedrooms and other things. And so being able to freeze those and stockpile them for the next day could be an awesome way to go. We'll see how things play out here. Let's get our first room. I think we did the right-hand side last time. So I think we're going to start on the left, and we're going to try to do rank 1 first. Stay on rank 1 as long as possible, and then move up to rank 2 when you run out of other options, even if it costs us a couple extra steps in terms of efficiency. Okay, I think here we will go ahead and take the parlor, although the fact that the parlor rewards gems is already perhaps a little less enticing. So it could be that this is the correct move is actually to pick the pantry, because the pantry guarantees you more steps. There's always a piece of fruit in the pantry. I think it's not the storeroom, because we did experiment last time trying to put a dead end. We put a dead end, the coat check, right here at the start. And, it might still be okay sometimes, depending on the dead end. If it's a really rare one, like if we get the mailroom offered, we do have a package that has been delivered and that we would love to pick up. And we do also have the coat check. We have the Lucky Rabbit's Foot. Both of those rooms would be fantastic for us to get here early on to start our run. But it does limit our maneuverability here, filling out rank 1. Obviously, none of these rooms let us get to the bottom left corner directly, but the parlor and the pantry both could get us there in a couple extra steps. But I think because of the logic that we laid out and the fact that gems all of a sudden, at least until we get a freezer, are not as much of a priority, let's go ahead and draft the pantry. And we do get, we have an orange for the first time, I believe. I'm not going to make a bad, I know this game is all about wordplay and bad puns, but I'm not going to make anything regarding an orange in this case. We're going to take our steps. 5, a +5. Okay, so that's why the orange is a little bit more rare. It was mentioned on here as one of the fruits, but I don't think we've seen it in either the kitchen or anywhere. So first orange. Surprised we didn't get an achievement for that. Now, we are not going to draft into rank 2. However, we are going to head to the other side of the entrance hall and see what we get in this direction. Aha! Something else that I remembered is that this red letter is still here. I had wondered if this icon was going to persist. So this is a significant enough of an event, us reading that letter and opening the time lock safe, that it has counted it as a status icon here on our blueprint. And perhaps, given that there is still a bit of room around it, there could be other status icons that could be filled in a similar fashion. Oh man, it is going to be so much fun discovering all the things there are to discover here. Aha! This is, what a pick this is. Holy shit. This is a pick right here. I think the correct pick here is the nursery. We've also gotten an answer to our question, by the way. It looks like the conversion rate is 3 steps per 1 gem. So we have to spend 3 steps in order to buy the 1 gem rooms. So it looks like. Maybe it'll vary a little bit depending on what room you're getting. However, it is between, we have a hallway, a corridor, and a nursery. The nursery, man, it's a dead end, but this is exactly what we want for this build, isn't it? The way that we're going here, is this the ideal start for a hovel? If you start with a hovel, you really want to start with a nursery. And the nursery isn't uncommon. There's no guarantee that we're going to get it offered again. And this is when we haven't drafted any bedrooms yet, this is such a strong start potentially to our run. If we think a few steps ahead to what we do next, if we do draft the nursery, we draft the nursery, and then we would maybe draft, at that point, it would probably be correct to draft the top of the entrance hall to know what you're getting there. Because here's the thing. So one of the details that I have been trying to figure out is where or how are the elbow rooms rotated? And I've been looking through my draft picks and trying to come up with some semblance of logic that works to tell me what to expect. I want consistency from my results. I want to be able to say, okay, because I'm facing to the north, that now the elbows are going to face to the left. Or because my room is rotated in this direction, the elbows are going to be rotated this way. And the conclusion that I've come to is that I think it's just random. I think it might just be random whichever way these elbows are faced. The only consistency I can find so far is like the pantry here, when it's up against a wall, either the southern edge or the western or eastern edges, they do get rotated so that they're not dead-ending you into a wall. But other than that, I guess when you connect the elbows together is the other thing where they don't. We'll have to see an example here maybe when we draft through the pantry. But like there was a pick on, I think, day 2 where we were offered either the pantry or the parlor. And we had already drafted a room up in this up in the second rank that was to the upper right of the entrance hall, and it had a wall there. But it drafted the parlor, even though normally the natural facing in the inventory screen, the room directory, the normal facing way is left for these elbows. And I was like, oh, that would be a perfect way for us to angle an elbow out to the left there. I wasn't thinking this at the time, but I'm looking through my drafts and thinking, of course, I would expect the elbow to face to the left, except it faced it to the right. And I thought, I can't think of any reason why it would do that other than it's just completely random. So all that to say, it might not matter which door we choose, whether we're drafting from the entrance hall or the pantry. Except I think it probably does matter, because while there are still more elbows in the pool, I actually would want to have an elbow, because so the way that elbows do behave together, I think is consistent. So when one of them, if the pantry goes like this, where you go into the pantry and you turn to the right, if you draft an elbow from there, I think it is guaranteed to turn to the left. I think the elbows are structured or they behave in a way where they don't circle in around to themselves, or you know, they cannot have that possibility. Like if it was completely random, you could have a world where you would draft the parlor to the right, and then you would draft the bedroom back to the right, and you would have created a circle. I think they are guaranteed to make you kind of build them in a straight line, more or less. It's like a diagonal line. But so because of that, I think we draft the pantry after this, and we try to get out here into this last room on the right. And then we come back through the entrance hall to try to draft the rest of rank 2 and maybe this room down in the right. But either way, the long-winded answer here, I just spend so much time thinking about these things that may or may not matter. The nursery is too good to pass up here, I think. It does kind of limit our options a little bit. It doesn't, you know, we're a little bit cut off from the rest of rank 1, but it's so freaking good for this draft. How can we not pass up an upgraded nursery when we already have a hovel? It's like, we should have slam dunked this like 10 minutes ago. And so we take it and we run. But not too fast because we don't want to use all our steps. Okay, so there is a gem here. And the gems, they do count as gems. So I don't think... I'm going to be curious to see if we have any reason to use them at all this run. Or are we just hoping to get a freezer? Are we just hoping to get... that ability to carry over our gems to the next day? That would be nice. Okay, that would definitely be nice, given what we started with. I'm excited about this start, but also a little bit nervous that we've limited our options. This is the nature of a draft. That nervous optimism that, oh, we started so well here, or we've got such an exciting potential continuation, not continuation, but the potential for our run is so exciting that I want to see it go as far as possible. Okay, now we are drafting from the pantry here, and I did not get an elbow offered like I was hoping. And I don't think I can afford to pass the chapel here. I really want to get my lucky rabbit's foot. I do really want to get that. And I also really would love to get a guest bedroom, because that's a whole lot of freaking steps. But we're really, I mean, we're cutting our options down to one more door to draft out of. And if that doesn't go the way we want it, this run is going to end. It's going to crash and burn in a very sad fashion. I don't want to lose my coins that I've already drafted. That's one downside of drafting the pantry so early, is that you don't get to avoid this downside of the chapel, which you know is common and has a very good chance of showing up. But I think we have to take the chapel, and we hope to get either the coat check or the mailroom still at some point here before we leave rank 2. I just can't take a dead end here. It's too... I've limited myself too much if I do that. So we go with the chapel, and we grin and bear the fact that we have to pay the tithe. Boo. We check the benches, see if anybody happens to have accidentally left their tithe money on one of them. The pews, that is. And then we draft to the left. Here, I would be okay with a left-facing elbow, but I think we would probably like the hallway the best, even though it is one of our... I've been focusing on this. Last time we were focusing on the commons, and the fact that there are the den, the hallway, and the chapel are these common options that have 3 doors to them. But there are going to be other things that are added to the pool. There are uncommon options, quite a few uncommon options that have 3 doors as well. So I don't think we should stress quite as much about when we save those for, and just keep drafting and use them in the spot that it makes sense. So let's go to the left here in the chapel. Okay. There is the mailroom. There is also a walk-in closet. Oh boy. And there's also a nook, which gets us down to the other room here on the bottom. Huh. What an interesting choice. My instinct here is to take the mailroom, because we know how amazing that was to get that early buff to our items. Like, the package was so good, and who knows what else it might have in us. I want to see more packages to see what items. Is it always just going to be dice and keys and gems, or will there be special things in there? Special items is what I mean. But the walk-in closet is also amazing because I think it's actually an unusual, is it not? I guess it is a standard. Okay, so the walk-in closet is standard, and I had previously, we just haven't seen it. I think the only times we have seen it offered, they have been at like these higher ranks, and so I got this idea that it was only offered like in the later stages of the game, but this is an early walk-in closet. But then, of course, we also do just have the left-facing nook, which it fills out our rooms as much as possible. And it does feel like the mailroom does seem to be offered more frequently when you have a package delivered. It does seem like the game wants to go out of its way to make sure that you get that package. So we could take the risk of drafting the nook. We could try to be very greedy, take the nook, and then draft the mailroom in the bottom left corner. But the mailroom is unusual rarity. I don't know how much they buff the chances of it being seen when you have a package, but it is still unusual. Can we take that risk? This might be one of the most interesting decisions that we've had yet in any of our drafts. We did have the walk-in closet once before, I think. And the items that we got were 2 gems, a salt shaker, and a deposit box key. So one argument there against the walk-in closet is the fact that we don't, unless we get a freezer, gems are not quite as valuable to us today. And by that argument, if there are gems in the mailroom, like what did the mailroom package have? We should look at those contents again. The mailroom package was 2 dice, 2 gems, and 2 keys. Okay, so even if you remove the gems from that one, that's still 2 dice and 2 keys. It's pretty amazing. At the same time, the Nook does get us a key. No matter what, there is still 1 key that we are procuring from the Nook, and it gives us the ability to draft a room in that bottom left corner and completely fill out our rank. Potentially, we'll see how the rest of the right side goes. This is a very greedy move here. This could be very wrong, and I may regret this soon enough, but this is how you learn, right? You have to make choices that sometimes go against what your gut instinct is, which is just to slam dunk the mailroom. But I'm going to try it here, because we did do this on the day where we had a package delivered. We, I think, passed the mailroom once in the first couple ranks, and we did get it offered in that bottom right corner. So let's see if we can get lucky again. Oh man, am I tempting the floor plan gods or what? Nook it is. Let's go. Oh my god. As soon as I click the button, I'm already nervous. I'm already like, have I made a huge mistake? Because what if I get offered the lavatory? Actually, even if we get the lavatory, that wouldn't be the worst room to stick down in the corner here. Okay, because then we get it out of the way, and we're not getting the lavatory offered later on when we start spending keys to open doors. So let's see what we get here in the bottom left. Rewarded so freaking hard. Slam dunk mailroom. Don't even have to think about that shit. Easiest mailroom of my life. Let's fucking go. Hell yes. Okay, anything new here in terms of we got really lucky the first time that we got the mailroom because we also got an electronic key card, which is not here this time. So we will open our package though and see what there is. No key on the floor this time either. We have to be very careful because the mailroom has had additional items and who knows where all they could be stashed. I just realized there's all these boxes here on the wall, or I mean they're mailboxes, duh. But I wondered for a second if they would be safe deposit boxes. Probably not. I think this, if there's any place that I could think for the safe deposit boxes to be, it would be in the vault, wouldn't it? Question mark? There is a number here. I had noticed a number in my footage, and I thought for a second that, is there a code that's being hidden on this? What exactly are we looking at over here? It's hard to see. Mount Holly. It's just a big mailbag, that's all. Okay, with a number that probably doesn't mean anything, but you know what? I'm gonna screenshot it because you never freaking know. Okay, no extra items. Let's see what's in the package. Okay. All right, this is a somewhat less exciting package than we got on the first day. Man, okay. We get a sleeping mask and 2 gems. Wow. No keys and no dice. However, a sleeping mask is very good for us because, well, today, steps are gems. So this is potentially going to be making us very rich. If it is 3 steps per gem, that's like almost 2 gems that we are getting the first time that you enter each bedroom. Okay, so this actually would count, I think, if we go back to the nursery, we should be able to get this. I think this is how the sleep mask works. It's the first time that you step into each room or each bedroom with the sleeping mask in tow, I want to say. And I think that means that that would also count for the hovel, would it not? But going back outside to get to the hovel is like 6 steps round trip. So you'd actually be losing a step in the process. Okay, so if that's the case, then do we want to go back to the entrance hall and draft from there instead of drafting through the chapel? It's probably just better to draft through the chapel, isn't it? Because with the chapel, if we manage to get offered, like this is unfortunate because now we are down to 1 option, essentially. That's the one downside of picking this chapel and then taking, we had to take the nook, not the nook, we had to take a room that was not going to take us to rank 3 in this position here. So when we did that, we essentially narrowed our options down to 1 left. 1 draft option left. So now this is one where I might take the time to try to think through a little bit. Do we want to draft from the chapel or do we want to draft from the entrance hall? Because even if there is a randomness to the way that elbows are faced, or any room in particular, that randomness may apply to things like the hallway as well. But it may be worth thinking about which one of these might be better to draft from. One argument for drafting from the chapel is that you could potentially get rooms like the hallway or the den. Those could be, if you did get one of them, if they are completely random, the way that they orient themselves, then you at least have a chance with a hallway for it to point in 2 directions. Like theoretically, the hall or the den could have both of their doors facing out into rank 2 and rank 3, as opposed to the entrance hall. Would the game logic do that? I don't have enough experience yet to know. And we don't have any dice to reroll. This is the other thing that's kind of unfortunate here. The other thing is, if we were offered either the spare room or the corridor, I probably wouldn't want it to come from the chapel. It's hard to say. I'm just thinking a little bit greedily about my coins and having to like backtrack through the chapel and losing coins. But actually, if I have to spend an extra couple coins, I don't think that should be our main consideration. I think our main consideration should be, how does the draft progress through? And if it does make progress out from here, if we don't get completely trapped, then I want it to have the most options possible. But I also want to, if we do get offered a spare room, I would prefer to stay on rank 2, just to keep our pool a little limited. Okay, let's just take a deep breath and we'll draft from the chapel to see. This run has some potential to it, but it's kind of hanging by a thread here. Hopefully we can get lucky again. How does it rotate the hallway here? It does rotate it by putting it into rank 3. So the hallway does not give us 2 additional options like I would want it to. So it might be better for us to take the spare room here and hope to get the hallway next. Because then maybe somehow in the game logic, like if it's completely random, it could still run one of these entrances from the hallway, or one of the doors from the hallway could go into the nursery if we draft it from the spare room. Would drafting into rank 3 be that bad? If we draft into rank 3, we do start adding stuff like the passageway, the gymnasium, the secret passage, the billiard room. These are all rooms that I've only seen at a minimum of rank 3 so far. Maybe that would be a good thing to try to give ourselves a chance at drafting the passageway now that we are so limited on options, but we're not really limited on, well, let's see. The passageway would cost us 6 steps, but with the nursery and a hovel, with the nursery just period, when we get something like the guest bedroom, we're getting so many potential gems. Like, we shouldn't be concerned about drafting rooms. This is the hovel. That is actually such a powerful effect. At least it feels like it at the moment. I'm just worried that later in the run, I might not feel the same way. Because at least if we take the hallway like this, then if we draft, yeah, this would be the problem with taking the spare room. In the world where the room orientation is completely random, if we go the spare room and then we draft an elbow that goes into the nursery, that essentially gives us a dead end. So if the elbows are randomized, then I would want them to be where the hallway is. And I would want to have still options going forward. Even if that is going to start, it's going to start screwing with our floor plan here, and we're not going to get to fill out, potentially not going to get to fill out rank 1 and 2 the way that we would like. On top of all that, the hallway has a key. And even though we don't necessarily need keys yet, we're going to need them soon. We seemingly can never have enough keys, especially if the Great Hall is in play. So also, this allows me to save a coin when I go to backtrack here to the nursery. So the hallway it is. I don't love it, but we're going to take it. And take our key, wherever that, I guess it's always here on the table with the red note. The lie about the lie from Cirrus, that's what it is. Okay, I don't see any other items there. We are going to backtrack because I do believe that we can get an extra 5 steps here. There it is. So the sleep mask does proc. That gets us it doesn't get us that much. And maybe I should have just waited, because maybe I was going to backtrack here to the entrance hall anyways, so don't know if that was the most efficient use, because we only profited 1 step, but anyway, it's fine. Let's keep drafting forward, and hopefully the passageway wouldn't be so bad here. We do not get the passageway. We do, however, get the, see, 2 elbows. 1 faces to the left, 1 faces to the right. Like, what the hell? I think this is a pretty easy observatory. Now, we don't really need gems, and I don't want to face to the left. I much rather would go to the right here. I don't want to go up into rank 4. So a pretty easy observatory, especially the fact that we have potentially so many gems as long as we keep getting bedrooms. And this gets us another star. Perfect. Oh, see, why does the telescope, that part kind of freaks me out a little bit, the fact that the telescope moves. But I guess that's a feature of the fact that the observatory might be oriented slightly differently depending on where you've drafted it previously. And so the telescope kind of remembers where it was before, and then it has to turn to face the new opening. Something like that, maybe? Something? Extra items appears to be no. But we get to look through the telescope. The other exciting thing about the telescope that I don't think I had absorbed, we get our... Oh, this is actually really good for us today. This is a gem, isn't it? We just got +3 steps from the slice. The slice. There you go. We can't look through this again, correct? Or we can, but we can't get another. We've already been given the reward. I think something that I had not fully digested from this book the first time around was the fact that depending on the number of stars that can be seen in the sky on any given day, Different constellations of various sizes may be visible, sometimes more than one on a single day. And I think what I had gotten confused about, I was like, wait, why is there no reward for 6? I think it's because when you get to 6 stars, what's probably going to happen is you're going to get 2 of the previous rewards. And that part is probably randomized. You're probably going to get either, I don't know, you could maybe get 2 slices, or you could get the twins plus Diamondus Minor, or you get the North Star plus the Southern Cross, or who knows, maybe you get the North Star, the twins, and the slice. 3 different constellations. So that's going to be, I think, an exciting, that's probably how they're going to do this star business. And it's going to be exciting, of course. Variable rewards are one of the most exciting parts of anything in general, really, but a roguelike, you got to have those variable rewards. So I think this is, I mean, there's obviously only one way to go. So we are drafting out of the observatory. Okay, and this is probably a security room. Oh, except why is it oriented that way? I'll still take it, but I'm just still, it's got to be random. It's got to be random, the fact that these are pointed the way that they are. This is fine-ish because it does give us, I mean, it's great because it gives us 2 additional options where we only had 1 previously. So we obviously take the security room here, especially with the fact that we're not as concerned about gems. And then we hope to get the East Wing Hall. That would be awesome. So we can potentially fill out the rest of ranks 1 and 2. So security, boom. We do have to be a little bit mindful of our steps because our steps will dwindle, even though it's like, oh, it's just 3 steps to open this room. Those steps are going to add up, and we need to keep that in mind. The terminal here, I don't see that there is any downside. When you have no key card, it feels pretty, we'll check the inventory just to be sure we didn't miss anything, but the key card system, it kind of feels like the default is just, when you don't have a key card, set this shit to low, because why not? Get that, do not limit yourself in that regard, and go ahead and change the offline mode as well to unlocked. So that way, when you do, if and when you do draft the utility closet, you can just go ahead and disable the key cards altogether. Now, if we were to pick up a key card relatively soon to where it wouldn't be too far to go back to the security room, then you would come back here potentially and shift those settings altogether, completely change them the other way. Although I'm not sure about offline mode. The security level, you would want more doors that are blocked by a key card. So we'll see how that goes. That feels like the default though, if you have no key card. By the way, holy shit. Speak of the devil, there's a keycard door here. Okay, I think that confirms then that rank 4 is where you start seeing locked doors standing in your way. So, would love to have a keycard. I'd also love to have a magnifying glass, because I think we could check this more closely and potentially get a terminal password. That would be exciting. Okay, things that must happen down the road. For now, we are going to continue in rank 3 and see what we get here. Oh boy. Oh boy, that is a patio. Interesting. It is a patio, but it also does not lead us to the rooms below. And also, now that I think of it, we only have the one. Never mind. I got all excited about the patio for, well, it's not for no reason. It is not for no reason, okay? The patio is worth considering here because I can't go to, I can view my inventory, but my inventory does not show the fact that we have Blessing of the Chef. We have not utilized our shrine buff just yet, but this would be the first instance where we would be adding an additional main course to the dining room. That's an upside of potentially 30 steps. Another 30 steps, depending on what rooms we have, a minimum of 20. That is potentially so many gems on a day when you have the hovel. the patio, this also does answer my other question. We had drafted the patio on the far west, on the west side, and as I suspected, it is draftable here on the east side as well. Now, do they angle in different directions? That is interesting. It looks like the patio does angle in the other direction when it's on the east side, because the fence, the patio faces in one direction. You have the grill, and the way that the room is set up, it's not randomized in the way that you could put. It has to stay aligned the way it is. So these doors, the way the corner is aligned, it would point in the other direction if it were on the other side. If we were drafting this to the left, it would point downward. So that's interesting. So the other choice would be to take the parlor and try to draft the rest of the rooms down below, which is my instinct here. I think that's probably correct, because those are like, I think I might have, in a couple of our previous drafts, I might have thought, it's only 3 rooms. What's the big deal? The big deal is that these are 3 rooms that are guaranteed to be unlocked. We do not have to worry about spending keys in any of these rooms here. So it is kind of a big deal. We spend extra steps. However, if we get to draft, a guest bedroom, or we get to draft a coat check without spending a key, I think the parlor is the right choice. There's part of me that is also thinking, like, what if we go all 3 days with the rest of our time with this blessing of the chef and we never use it? What if that happens? But it just doesn't feel right to take the patio here. This might be a thing where I'm getting too worried about my layout, and I know my laser focused brain has been doing that. I've been so focused in the previous drafts on trying to draft the layouts efficiently, and sometimes there might be one of these decisions where it's like, take the spread and the fact that you are going to get so many extra steps from that, potentially it might be worth it. It does rely on you drafting a dining room, though. It's not that they're guaranteed steps. You still have to draft a dining room. And if you're missing out on 3 rooms down here, that's 3 less times. Not that we would draft the dining room here. I don't think it's available this early. But if we're removing rooms from the pool, we're making the dining room more likely later on down the road if we're removing those rooms now. Now, one last consideration. The parlor gets you gems, and gems are not as a big of a deal unless we get a freezer. So the parlor has given us the car keys. I want to say it's given us the car keys twice. So for all those reasons, I am going to take the parlor, even though, who knows, in retrospect, I might regret that. But there's so many choices like this. In retrospect, you might regret anything. I think I see an extra item, though. As I take a step in here, I think there is immediately, ooh, what is this? I think we do have a new item inside of the parlor. It is a coin purse. Oh shit, each time you collect 3 coins, earn an additional coin in interest. All right, it's similar to the salt shaker. It gives us some additional coins. Sweet. Okay, the parlor is definitely a place to have. They love giving you the extra items in here. Okay, now the other thing we learned, apparently, I don't remember where we learned it, but apparently the parlor game is going to get more difficult as we start going along. We'll see. Hopefully we're careful enough with our logic here where that's not going to trip us up. Now, okay, all 3 boxes contain gems. We know that's a lie. Blatant lie, unless they've changed the rules on us, right? Like, this could be one thing where it's like, we've made it more difficult by changing the rules, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So the rules are still the same, so this is blatantly false. The white box says the other 2 boxes contain gems. The other 2 boxes contain gems. That could be true or false, right? No, that's also false. Wait a second, what am I thinking? I read it the other way around. I read it as the other 2 boxes do not contain gems, as in this one contains gems. So these are both false, which means this must be the true one. this box contains gems, right? Now they've given me this, a little bit of doubt that I've been given to myself here. It has to be false. That has to be false. Yeah, it has to be this one. Don't doubt yourself. Never doubt yourself. It's just because they put that idea in my head that the game is going to get harder. And so maybe I'm wrong this time. Maybe this is the one time where we finally fail the parlor game. Okay, all right. We are, man, we're at 5 gems. That's mainly because we haven't had to spend any of them so far. We're spending steps today. What do we get going through the parlor door? That is a den. That's kind of what I was hoping for because it gives us the ability to draft 2 more rooms. I think that's the correct choice here. With that said, we also have the kitchen and the commissary, and we are in the market for items. When we have a coin purse, and gems, steps are gems. So this kitchen here, even though it's at common, is very tempting. Even though it's at common, what am I thinking? I think it's because it's at rank 2. That's what I'm thinking, is I'd have to go back to rank 2 if I want to buy stuff later, because right now I don't have any coins. So I want a kitchen, but I don't want it here. I would much rather have it up at rank 4 or 5. The issue is that our draft pool is going to start getting filled up, and the kitchen is going to get harder to draft. I like the idea, though, that the den gives us both of these rooms. It is our last of these 3 common 3-ways, right? That I had tried to hold on to before. But this is a strategy that they laid out. The developers in the drafting strategy guide specifically told us, try to fill up the early rooms and build a strong foundation. This builds us the most solid foundation as possible, right? At least for the first 2 ranks. We get to fully fill up. We get to draft both 1 and 2 with all 10 rooms. And we also get a gem that's completely useless to us until we get that freezer. Boy, I hope. The more gems you get, do you get a higher chance of getting offered the freezer? I'm going to go ahead and take it. It might be used in our last 3-way, but I'm going to do it. Don't overthink it. Fill up all the rooms. Do the thing. Any extra items today in here? We did have a trunk before in the den, so it's worth looking around for any other stuff they might add. Random coins are really good for us today. I don't think it makes a difference here which direction we draft at all, so we'll just go ahead and draft both of these doors here. Oh my god. They actually gave us the office? Oh my goodness. Whoa. And there's a guest bedroom. Okay, holy shit. Okay, what the fuck? I didn't even see the guest bedroom at first because I was like, oh shit, we got the walk-in closet. But wait, we also got the office. But wait, we got the guest bedroom. What? Holy shit, what a choice. The guest bedroom would obviously get us the most steps. That's a plus 18 steps right there. That's so many gems. The walk-in closet is 4 items. Now the walk-in closet is less valuable on a day when gems are not being used. So right now, until we get a freezer, these 6 gems are all going to waste. Those pretty little gems ain't going anywhere, but out the door as soon as this runs over. The office, though, is really interesting that it can be offered this soon, by the way. Previously, we'd only seen the office at a minimum of rank 5, so it can appear as soon as rank 3. Yes, this room is being placed at rank 1, but we've unlocked rank 3, and I think that is how the game logic works. Once you reach a certain rank, then all of the whatever is available at that rank gets added to the pool. And that would give us the that would spread coins, right? I don't think we would get to run payroll because we still haven't reached next week. We would not be able to run payroll, but we could spread coins through a house that's only, what, 12 rooms so far. And we would activate our Blessing of the Chef. We would have to spend 6 steps to do it. And we would not get a use out of the door that's leading out of the office. The office is standard rarity, as is the walk-in closet. So these are both, these are both rooms that have a decent chance to show up later in the draft, and they're also both a little less valuable in this spot. For us, drafting a guest bedroom might just be the best way to go. Because it's also a dead end down here at the bottom. It's in a perfect place. Oh, I forgot. We even get the +5 steps from the sleeping mask. Okay, that puts it over the top for me. Guest bedroom it is. Slam dunk that shit. I can't believe I even thought about it in the first place. The chance for extra items is another great thing. We don't get the extra item in this case, unfortunately. But that guest bedroom, I'm not going to be... If I'd have remembered the sleeping mask, I would have not been debating that. That just is so much more exciting of a choice, taking that there. Okay, now we have the storeroom, the spare room, and the commissary. It's between the storeroom and the commissary for me, and I think it's probably going to be a pretty easy storeroom because, once again, we're dead-ending in a part of the map that we want exactly to be a dead end. Except, you know what I just realized? I just realized that I'm an absolute dingus. Oh my god, I just had a terrible discovery. I'm sitting here thinking of all the amazing things that we're going to be doing with this run, except I just remembered that our only other door out of security is a keycard door. I just remembered that. Oh my god. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. We should have drafted the hovel. Not the hovel, but the patio. We had to draft the patio there. We did not have another option from security to go into rank 4. Oh my gosh, I completely just dead-ended us. What am I even doing, guys? Oh my god. I feel so stupid right now. I kind of want to go just crawl under the nearest rock. I want to go down in that hovel that used to be Denny Ravain's and just nobody ever drafted again. I'll just stay there for the rest of forever because I'm a dingus. Holy shit, you've got to be kidding me, dude. I can't believe I did that. I can't actually believe I just did that. That's crazy. Wow. We're done. Unless there is some wild... What is the Hail Mary here that could potentially get us out? I think the thing that comes to mind is the fact that we have gotten extra items in the storeroom. We've gotten the broken lever before, and maybe a couple other things. I guess it was the broken lever on 2 different days. So, is there ever a world where there is a security key card in the storeroom? Or is there ever a security key card laying around in the commissary? Or could there be a security key card for 2 coins for sale in the commissary? Oh my god. I can't believe how much of a dingus I am. This might be the most embarrassed that I have ever been. Not in life, that's for sure. I've definitely had more embarrassing things happen in life. But in front of a camera recording for people on the internet, maybe. It could be, guys. I think we have to take the storeroom here. That is literally our only chance. Maybe not literally, but it is the chance that most readily comes to mind. I don't think it's going to get us there. Because I don't see somebody having left a key card in this place. I cannot believe that I forgot the fact there was a key card door. Oh my, I just took it for granted. I so took it for granted that we were going to be able to draft out of this door from security. And now it is actually a fucking, oh my God, it is a security door that we cannot get out of. Holy shit. What is wrong with me? No, there's got to be a security key card here, guys. There's got to be a security key card that somebody has left laying around. Denny, Ravane, did you stash a key card somewhere? Somewhere? That is, oh my goodness. I can't believe this. Look at all these steps I have, guys. Look at all these amazing steps that we're going to be able to use to spend on things and open doors that we couldn't open before. Look at this. How awesome is this going to be? Oh, wait. Oh, gosh. How could this happen? Surely they would have left the security keycard laying around in the nursery. That's, oh my God. Oh my goodness, guys, how did this happen? I know how it happened. It's because I wasn't paying attention. You have to pay attention to these sorts of details. I'm sure they would have left a key card down here in the bottom. Suspicious water puddle here that I forgot about. But, yeah, this gives us a chance, though. This gives us a chance to re-examine the grounds. I don't think this fits. I didn't realize we could do this. We have 3 keys. The basement door is locked. So this is something I would have never done if we hadn't crashed and burned the run. But apparently you can try to use regular keys on this, but I don't think this would work. The key does not fit. That's what I thought. Okay, so this is a good little piece of intel because it tells me what I suspected, in that you need, similar to the secret garden key, you need to be at a specific location on the residence somewhere to use that secret garden key. I don't think it actually works with, maybe we'll just try it again on a regular door that's not in the dark room the next time that we get the chance. But I suspect that you need a special key similar to the secret garden key in order to unlock this basement door. All right, as much as I've been wandering around the grounds here, hoping and praying for a key card to just materialize out of thin air, surprise, surprise, that has not happened. So I guess we will have to take the very small, maybe large in retrospect, consolation prize of lighting this blue flame, which I'm hoping is permanent progress. We'll find out soon enough here, because there is no way that I am done playing this game for today. With that short of a run, we are running it back. We're doing another draft, folks. There is no way that I'm going to let this episode end on that sour note. I think the way that we will close out our run here is we will check not the guest bedroom, but the nursery. We will check the flavor text, because I think we forgot to read it the other day. One of the few rooms you vividly remember from your visits here in your youth, though even at that time you remember feeling a little old for the activities provided here. The twin cribs found in this room might suggest that at one point in time there had been some hopeful expectations of a sudden growth of the family tree. Okay, so the double beds in the nursery does not necessarily mean that we had a sibling. I'm not sure if that's what I had thought, or I think I had wondered why there were 2 beds just ever so briefly, but then put that thought out of my mind. So there you go. The nursery is also commonplace. I think I had thought it was standard because it just hadn't shown up in our draft picks all that much, but apparently it's commonplace. You do have to spend a gem on it, but man, oh man, I'm still the sour taste that's going to be in my mouth from what could have been with the hovel and the nursery. I'm sure we'll have another run. This is me trying to console myself here. There will be another run that happens where we get these two together so early like this, and we'll be able to make use of this awesome synergy. But for now, we're going to have to another day. Also, we lost the blessing of the chef, and we didn't get to make use out of it. But and a package as well. The mailroom. God damn it. That's why we have another draft. That's why. That's why you just turn the page. There have been so many moments like this over the years as I've been thinking about it here. I took a small little break as well. And I was thinking to myself, there have been so many decks that I've done like this where I've drafted a really, really cool Hearthstone deck or a Magic deck, and it just didn't live up to expectations. Or I made some very key misplays in piloting the deck. And so it just didn't get to where it was supposed to go. The chat is very good at spamming 12-0 deck 03 pilot. For those of you who have played Hearthstone or watched Hearthstone streams, you will know that one oh so well. But yeah, we get back on the horse. Our small cottage. I do like the detail here that I've been noticing as editing my footage, the fact that the Mount Holly estate does take on various sizes and colors based on how your draft has progressed that day. This one, it feels like every draft so far has been, like we had the first draft, which was a very noobish draft, and then we had like a pretty decent day 2 and day 3. I thought they felt like we made pretty good progress on those days, and then ever since then, it's been like a steady decline. Everything has been headed downhill. Hopefully we can get that. We need to find that the sketch that has the stocks and everything in it. Stonks. We need the chart heading upward. We need the arrows go up. That's what we need here. So let's see if we can make that happen. We're gonna go back and draft the outer room once again here. And I don't know if we'll run it back if we get offered the hovel, or if we'll try to draft a new room, but let's see what we get here. Oh, another bird bath. There are like 4 of these things around the grounds, and I'm wondering if they do something. Oh, I also forgot. We'll check it on the way back. We have to go back, but I forgot to check the blue flame. Hopefully I can remember and see if that blue flame is still there. What do we get though? We do get something new that's been added. We have the trading post and the shelter, which we've tried before. The shelter was awesome, but we have the schoolhouse. Adds 8 classrooms to today's draft pool. What the hell? Hello? 8 classrooms? I mean, we have to try that. It's a new thing. And I need to do some learning. I need to take some serious lessons to up my drafting skills here if we're going to make any progress. So let's check out the schoolhouse. What the fuck? Okay. Oh man, this is old school. It's the old school house. This is what in the heck? Okay. Herbie. This is actually where Sinclair went to school. Did he have a schoolhouse here on the grounds? What? Oh my God. Herbie there's another pipe. Oh shit. Could we be lighting another blue flame already? Okay, I'm already excited. I've already put the disappointment of the previous day in the rear view. We're also on to day 8, which does not mean we're on a new week just yet, because I think November 7th was a Saturday. That was day 1. And now, so we should be on day 8, which is another Saturday. So we're still 1 day away from turning the page to the new week, where we could potentially get a new payroll dispersion. But anyway, thinking ahead too much to some details. Oh, there are notes under the desk here as well. Okay. The schoolhouse. This is actually where he went to school? Question mark? Closing address. What does that mean? For the last 38 years, it has been my pleasure of serving as your schoolmaster in this humble little facility. And meager as it may look by modern standards, I think most of us who spend our afternoons here will readily admit that we are reluctant to see this small piece of Reddington history go. I first wish to thank Lady Epson, our most gracious host today, for not only paying attention in my classes those many years ago, but for all the fundraising she's done on behalf of our community and our children. Without her, Reddington Elementary would still be a distant and blurry vision. A vision that I dared not even dream. That dreamer, of course, is the incomparable Mrs. Peterson, our future principal and my reluctant successor, who I might add forced me to give this speech, so I think I'll end my praise of her there, though she deserves much more, I'll admit. The architect of our new school, the Baron Sinclair, thank you. Oh, he's speaking to Sinclair. Thank you for following in your father's footsteps in building Reddington yet another school, and for also allowing the use of your own private residence and floor plans to serve as our interim facility until the new campus is completed in March. A decision I'm certain he will immediately regret tomorrow morning when he hears the children running through his halls. Those damn kids, get off my lawn! And lastly, I wish to thank all my students, many of you here today whom I've not seen in years, whose faces I still remember as young and manners wild. Those here whose parents before them I've also taught and whose children I may yet. Without you, I would have had a lifetime of quiet peace. And yet, what is all the peace in the world if you have no one to bestow demerits upon? Oh shit, that's a deep philosophical thought there. Thank you all sincerely. My time here has meant the world to me, and if I'm still standing in 8 months, I'll see you all at the slightly less melancholic ribbon cutting ceremony next year. Okay, and then so this is like notes to himself here. This is his closing address. I get it now. It's not, I was thinking like address, return to sender, a mail address, mailing address. It's an address, a speech. English is hard, guys. Better joke to the end. That was okay, yeah. If I'm still standing at 8 months, how old was this guy? Remember to give Mrs. Peterson her gift. Okay, so these are all, he's got the notes here to make sure that he doesn't forget the important things. That's good, that's good. Now, we don't ever hear him say his name, do we? I wonder what was the gift that was to be given to Mrs. Peterson. This is really, these sorts of details are just, they're adding a layer to this game that is really fun, because I don't know what to make of it all yet. It all feels like these details could be very important in piecing together the puzzles that we're meant to solve. And there could be details in this note, although at the moment it just kind of feels like, okay, this is just backstory, a little bit of flavor, but maybe there's something in here. Maybe there's something cryptic that is to be decoded one way or the other. But okay, so the schoolhouse also has another flame. What the hell? We actually get 2 of these things lit in the same episode. I would not have expected that. I would not have expected to be lighting blue flames at all going into today, but there you go. 2 of them are now lit up, and we can go. Assuming there's nothing else to find here. Oh, there's chalk that we cannot use. Oh, wait a minute. There is a note on the chalkboard. Within a timely manner. Another play on words. Okay. The word manor has come up a couple different times now. Obviously, this is an estate or a manor. But I think we've also had, there's a book titled like The Baron's Manor. It was from The Office. The note in The Office that said it had a list of books. Oh, it's not what I thought. It's Herrings of the Major. So, and then Passing of the Barons. I feel like there was another note somewhere that mentioned something about manor, though. But I'm still at the point where I'm just basically taking as many notes as possible, but I haven't shifted into, let me try to put these pieces together, because I feel like it's a puzzle. It's like a 100-piece puzzle that we only have like 10 pieces for, and it's like wouldn't even be worth it at this point. So just keep gathering all the intel you can. Keep turning on blue flames. We can't pick up this lamp, can we? That would be Sweet to have that as an item to take into that dark and dingy tunnel. No such luck, though. Okay, I don't think I see anything else. Hopefully I'm not missing any other details here. Trying to be a little bit extra careful just in case, because now I'm thinking, like, you know, the fact that I forgot the detail of the fact that we had a keycard door that was blocking our way. I'll never live it down. But let's check here and see if there's anything different now that we've lit up 2 flames. It feels like the fact that we just lit up 2 of these, we've got to light up all 4, right? Nothing's going to happen until we get all 4 lit, correct? I can't interact with these in any way, can I? Feels like we got to light up 4 of these suckers. I might only see 2 pipes that have gas going into them. There's got to be another 2 switches, though. Because if we're only lighting up these 2, then I don't see any effect that it's had. Like, we don't activate the platform by standing on it, so unless we're meant to just, like, stand still and, like, look at Mount Holly. There it is. I've seen it several times coming back out of the estate. I just haven't noted the fact that there is that wonderfully shaped mountain in the background. See, if this were like Dark Souls, this is where I would have like a weird gesture emote or something, and then I would stand here for like 20 minutes, and then I would be transported to the top of Mount Holly, and then I would be like, what the fuck? How am I ever supposed to know that? Unless I was, maybe we should be playing online, guys, so we get the messages, the player messages that tell us what to do. Imagine if this did have an online messaging system that were done, like, you know, similar to Dark Souls, where you couldn't just write whatever you wanted, but you had to do a template that's provided by the game. Imagine what fun could be had with such online messages. Okay, we have added... Did we read the flavor text here? Long before Reddington Elementary was opened, school convened in a single small building. As the student body grew over the years, the need for separate classrooms for each grade arose, and the Mount Holly Schoolhouse was officially closed down. So now, if the hovel gave us a certain direction to our draft to incentivize us to draft bedrooms, this room has kind of just given us the incentive to just draft as much as possible and explore as much as possible, because there's 8 new rooms added to the pool. Will we even see one at the start here? Not yet. But the library can appear here. Hello? The library can appear here in rank 1. That, I think that's got to be the first time that we've seen it. Okay. The library at rank 1. It could be, I might be making this up, the fact that there are rank restrictions. Once again, don't tell me. I don't want to know these game mechanics that are under the hood that maybe are documented on a wiki somewhere and that are common knowledge for people who have played the game for a while. Don't tell me. I love the mystery. I love trying to figure things out. But the fact that the library, which I think is unusual rarity, does show up here suggests that maybe the rooms that I think are more rank restricted are actually just really uncommon. They're really, you just don't see them that much. So it's between the Nook and the library here. My instinct is to take the Nook and just say, let's take the key, start stockpiling our resources. Because one of the things about the library, the fact that it lets you discover less common floor plans while drafting, there are so many standard and unusual rarities that cost gems. So many of the good ones cost gems. Or at the very least, it's adding a lot more options to your draft pool, potentially, that cost gems. Like, it kind of feels a bit risky to take the library here so early on. It would be nice to fill out another book request form. That would be one reason to take the library and try to do a little bit more information gathering by getting a new book delivered. But getting the early key does mean that if we come across a trunk, we're able to open that. And trunks so far have been nothing but good. So if one does appear, I'd love to be able to just open it. And even if we don't use it now, we know we've guaranteed a key to our stockpile for when we get to rank 4. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Nook here, and we will grab the key just in case we do run across a trunk in the next room that we draft. We're not going to draft to rank 2 yet. We're going to try until I get a good idea as to why not. We're going to draft to the left in the entrance hall and try to stay on rank 1. It's less steps efficient, ever so slightly, but I'm going to keep trying to do that for now. Now we probably want to take the parlor. Or we could take the spare room and just shoot directly to... Maybe I'll take the spare room here, in fact, and just go directly to the end of rank 1. Because this has the same... Spare room versus parlor is what I'm thinking of here. The parlor would give us those guaranteed 2 gems. That's the big upside of the parlor. But it then would force us to go into rank 2. And the spare room is one of these straight throughs. It's just this and the corridor at common. We don't have too many of these straight throughs. Is it better to use that here or try to save it for later? I kind of like the idea of taking the spare room and shooting for the end where we can, you know, put the parlor. We could put the parlor at the end. That would be great to have an elbow in an actual corner for once. Or if we get a dead end there, we'll come back and we've got the entrance hall and the Nook still to check. Let's go ahead and take the spare room and shoot for that corner. And I'll try to be less overthinking in my decisions in general and just keep going. Maybe aha, punished. Punished for not having a gem when we had one of the new classrooms that's been added. Okay, so this, you know, these gem rooms are going to start showing up before you have gems. I think maybe we just got lucky, or we had just drafted the parlor far more often in that we had, for whatever reason, we were getting, it felt like in our first few days, we were not getting these gem rooms to show up in the first rank very much. And so I got this idea in my head that it's only when you get access to gems that they start showing up. But that may not be the case. The classroom, though, while drafting in classroom, you may draw new floor plans one time for each. Are these drawing rooms in your house or drafting rooms? The ones that have the little, what is this called? This is not a compass. What is this actual tool called? I did use this in school. I don't know if this is still something that kids use in school, but it's the little, you stick it in you got the little pinpoint that sticks in the paper and you can draw a circle with it. Is it a compass? It is actually a compass, isn't it? It is. And I think that's why I doubted myself, because I had the same thing as a kid thinking, but wait, there's that thing that lets you know whether you're going north or not. Why would you call this thing a compass as well? Why? Why would you do that to yourself and make everything so confusing? Okay, so we don't get to take the classroom, though, this time because we don't have a gem. So it's between the storeroom, which would get us a gem, and the bedroom. The bedroom has a strong likelihood of having extra items. We've seen the sleep mask a couple times. There's been a trunk in there. And looking at my notes, I can see that we also had some coins. It looks like both days 4 and 5 had coins in the bedroom. It was only day 6 where we had no item at all. So there's a strong likelihood that there's an extra item here in this bedroom. And it does give us the option from here to draft onto rank 2. And we saw last draft. Now all of a sudden I'm a little scared about running out of options again. Like, it could be pretty nice to draft the bedroom here and then to draft one of our 3 ways above it. The chapel would be probably I don't know if that's the best one, but it would be, the chapel would be okay because we haven't got any coins yet. So this is where I will take the bedroom. So we get the corner, we get the elbow in a corner, and we get to keep moving. And potentially we get an extra item. So let's see what we get here. And I think this is maybe the first time that we've put the bedroom where there's actually a window. So we do get a pretty window here with an okay view. Unfortunately, no item and no trunk. So we did not get rewarded in that regard, unfortunately. But we will keep drafting from here because it is now time to turn our attention to rank 2. So let's see what we get at this end. They do offer us the library again, but I think I still have the same problem here. I need gems. So this is an easy parlor, I think. Now, in this case, the elbows do behave consistently because we're up against a wall. So the elbow, I think, would always be facing to the right here. We've got to take the parlor, I think. There's a chance for an extra item in the parlor as well. Maybe we'll get our coin purse back. Let's take the parlor, though. Because I need those gems. I don't have the steps. I don't have them. Or I don't have the steps. I don't get to spend steps the way that I really wanted to start the day. But that run is behind us. We're moving on. We're putting it in the rearview mirror. Okay, no extra items here. Here we go. New parlor game. This box is the white box. You lie. Liar. This box is the black box. Also a liar. So this one has to be true. The blue box contains the gems. Okay. Yeah, right. Because the gems don't have to be in the true box. That was the message in the workshop. Was it the workshop? I thought that at first that message was there to confuse me, but it's just saying like, hey, sometimes one of the false box, forgot to get the wind-up key, one of the false boxes could have your gems. So in this case, as I double check my logic to make sure I'm not making a stupid mistake, the blue box contains the gems. There we go. Blue gems, gimme, gimme. And our window, have we always drafted? It feels like we've had a window most often in the parlor, but this time the window is over on this side instead of this side. Interesting. So it looks a little weird having those curtains like that. Okay, let's continue. We might as well continue from this spot here at rank 2. Let's do it. And we have corridor, chapel, and commissary. See, why is the chapel angled in this direction? That makes no freaking sense. Why is the commissary angled in this direction? That makes no freaking sense. I don't get it. None of this makes any sense. Do I just take the chapel here as a hallway? Or as a corridor, I should say? Or do I once again pass up on the corridor, giving me a guaranteed unlocked? Because I don't think I want to spend... Man, putting a commissary here feels really bad. Yes, we have a bedroom to give us some refunds on our steps, but we have to backtrack so far to get back to the commissary. Just feels wrong. I think I will go ahead and use the chapel here, actually. I kind of do want to get some usage out of this corridor if I really want to, and we don't have any coins yet. So it's nice to be able to go through the chapel when you don't have coins, even if it means that you're not using that extra doorway, which we might soon regret. We may very well soon regret this because, you know, we're almost out of doors. Maybe I should just take the corridor here. I'm having some serious indecision. Because if you were going to have the chapel somewhere, it would be so much better to have it in the next room where it connects through to things, but I don't know. I'm going to take the corridor. I'm going to try to be efficient on I can't help it. My brain hates this idea of wasting a door going into the side of the spare room wall. So, like, this is the second of our 2 straight throughs. Maybe this is wasteful to use these here, but I'm going to do it. I am going to take the corridor, but what I will do, we'll take a look to see if there are any items that I can spot, but I'm not going to draft this. I am going to, it's hard to tell if there's a key at the end of the thing there. There could be a key, but I don't want to check just yet because I want to draft the Nook while I still have as many common elbows in my pool as possible. And also if those classrooms are going to be elbows as well that we might want to buy, because I'm pretty sure that the elbow that we draft, if we draft an elbow at the Nook, it's guaranteed to point to the right. And I want that to be, I don't want to draft an elbow from the corridor to the entrance hall. But then again, I don't have to pick the elbow if there's one offered. I'm going to go with my first instinct here. I'm going to go back and draft the Nook. This might be a ridiculous overthinking sort of move, but I'm going to do it. We get to go through the bedroom to save ourselves some steps, and we're going to draft from here. Okay, we do get the library offered this time, and we get the courtyard. The courtyard is probably the play. Definitely not the storeroom. Library versus courtyard, though. The library gives you... They are really wanting us to get the library. This is the third time this has been offered. This has to be an effect of the storehouse, doesn't it? As I think about it here. It makes sense that the schoolhouse... Did I say storehouse or schoolhouse? The schoolhouse, you're going to have to do some studying. So you got to go to the library. So it doesn't just add these new rooms to your pool. It buffs the chance that you're going to see the library. I think we need to take the courtyard, though. The courtyard is nice in that it's not nice that it costs a gem, but it has the chance to contain a trunk, and it has dig sites that we could potentially dig up later. And most importantly, it gives us 2 directions to draft in. And the fact that we've run the corridor and the entrance hall into the same spot means that we kind of need options, I think, more than anything at this point. And hopefully, the library will continue to be offered to us at an increased drop rate. So let's take the courtyard here. It always kind of sucks to spend a gem, but, you know, you do what you're going to do. Let's take I don't want to go in the courtyard just yet, even though there could be a trunk in there. Because what I want to do is I want to draft this room at the entrance hall, because now I could theoretically put a dead end at this entrance hall here. We don't have to, but we've opened up the navigability. The courtyard opens up the rest of potentially rank 1 and 2 on the right here, as well as it's our entry point into rank 3. And so putting a dead end at the end, putting another entrance into the rank 3 above the entrance hall is a little redundant. Maybe, but it also does give us more options, more doors to draft, so it may not be redundant. So let's go ahead and let's draft the entrance hall and see what we've got while we're still relatively close to it. Okay, we have the den versus the chapel versus the closet. And the den is oriented the way that we would want it to be. So maybe I need to be smart here and take the den so that I could theoretically draft in both directions on rank 3. That's probably the smart choice, and it gets us a gem. Very important. See, this is what leads me to believe that this is just random the way these things are rotated. Because theoretically, the den and the chapel, if they were behaving by some set of rules, they would both do the same thing here. And they're clearly not. And so why does it make any sense that one of the chapel's doors would go to the right? Why would it not always just be like the den here if there were some logic guiding? I do want these 2 items in the closet, but I think I take the 1 item plus the 1 draft over anything else here. So let's take the den. Keep our options open. We will check the den to obviously grab the gem, because who knows? We could get an office offered now that we know that the office is available potentially as early as, what did we see it on last draft? I'm not sure. Okay, there was no extra item here on the table in the corridor, and nothing else from what I can see. So a couple extra steps wasted there. Now I think I will go back and spend a few. I'm being a little less efficient with steps in the name of trying to fill out lower ranks first. Might be the wrong move, but we're doing it here, so we learn. No trunk. It feels like we are getting a bit unlucky with the lack of extra items. There has been So far, no extra items that are showing up in any of these rooms, which is, it feels a bit unlucky. All right. We could take the security room, and then we would have 3 paths into rank 3. Do we want that? We could also just take the billiard room. Interestingly, I think this is the first time that I've seen the billiard room at rank 2. And I think I want to take it here because it doesn't spend a gem. We don't have an immediate need for security. And because we have both the courtyard and the den to get us into rank 3, and they're both kind of close to each other, I don't really want to add another door that's so close. Could do the library. Once again, they are really giving us this library so often. But I think we want the keys here. Resources. Resources, resources, resources. Let's do that and hopefully get a nice dead end as well below the billiard hall. The billiard room. Once again, no items, where we've sometimes seen coins. But, okay. Time to play some darts. A very special version of darts, as we become familiar with. 12 minus 7 divided by 4. Is that what it is? Am I doing this right? 12 minus 7. Hold on a minute. No, that's not right. What is this? Ooh, are they switching up? Are they switching up? I need to check my notes for the billiard hall, but have we reached the point where stuff is going to get more? They did warn us that things are going to get trickier. Because right now, the way that this is laid out, or the way we would have done this No, I'm sorry. I screwed up. It's 12 minus 7, which is 5, times 4, which is 20. I was being a dingus for a second. Today is the day for me to be a dingus. 12 minus 9 is 3. Times 10 is 30, but divided by 15 is 2. 12 plus 4 is 16. Minus 5 is 11. Times 2 is 22. Divided by 11 is 2. Boom. Give me my 2 keys. Okay, so I think we can know, or I think we can say at this point, our sample size is large enough now, where it feels like the parlor is guaranteed gems, the billiard room is guaranteed keys. That feels pretty obvious at this point. So, okay, and then we get to take a storeroom. Not bad, all things considered. We're a little bit low on steps, but we'll see if we can make that up here. Maybe they'll give us a nursery. The nursery is commonplace. I had thought it was standard, but this I think is a pretty clear storeroom. The one thing to take the one reason you might take the pantry would be to get some fruit, but I don't think that's a good enough reason. You could also get an extra item here in the storeroom, so maybe one of these days it'll be a key card. Not the most illogical place to have a key card just laying around, but for now it's just our usual items. So I don't see any reason to not just go ahead and draft the courtyard. Okie dokie. See, the elbows once again, 2 different directions. Why? I think now we finally take the library. I don't want the security room pointing to the left. We take the library, if nothing else, because it points to the right. And it is now we get to do some studying and maybe get one of our super rare rooms. Let's just see what we get. Library time it is. I do want those coins from the pantry, but hopefully we'll get those down the road. Do I step in now? Do I step in now? Do I want to see what I get from this direction? Because it is a more... What I'm thinking I would do is man, like I do want to go back to the den and draft from there, but we are starting to get, now we're down to 28 steps. This is the price that we pay for trying to fill out things and build this base as wide as possible. We do have Blessing of the Chef, So theoretically, we're going to be able to recoup these steps at some point. I'm going to take the risk here, and we're going to step into the library. Looks like we do have another request form. And if we wanted to, we could take drafting strategy again. Okay. All right. I don't think I want to do that, though, because I have screenshots. What do I need to do that again for? What do we take this time? Like these, the first 4 options here all feel equivalent to me because I just don't, I see them as basically, well, I don't know. I have no idea what to think of these. The pump system user manual, this feels like there is some utility with what we've done so far in the house because it might tell us more about the pump room. So why don't we do that one, and then we'll maybe just roll the dice when we get the chance to pick one of the other 4. So let's do that for now. Let's check around for extra items real quick, or anything else that might seem out of place. Maybe we'll get lucky and pixel hunt the right book here. That opens up the secret passage. Oh, this is an interesting detail. The discovery records has changed to reflect the fact that we've collected 1 red letter. And this, it actually says red letters, plural. There's multiple of these to collect. It did have a number 7 on the envelope, didn't it? Wow, could there potentially be 7 or even more red letters to find? It's kind of exciting. Have we added anything new to our scrapbook by any chance? Other than, you know, changing the most drafted or these categories that we've seen. We haven't made any contraptions yet. We still haven't really gotten anything added here to the purchased list. Oh, I think this is new. I think we added this from the observatory. And apparently we've avoided the locksmith as the most. I think that's the same. No, we had something else here before. I don't remember what it was. But we've added both this picture of the observatory, which is very cool, and then this little sketch of Holly. That's cool. And there's some paper clips here for additional stuff to be added. But yeah, we've neglected the locksmith, the laboratory, and the root cellar most often. I want to take that root cellar eventually. I do want to show that some love. We got to get a shovel, though. That could be a strat. One strat would be to coat check the shovel. And I feel like that's probably a way where you could guarantee or have a better guarantee that you are not going to what am I thinking here? Finishing my thought can be difficult sometimes. But what I was thinking is, that's right. You could coat check the shovel and hope to get the root cellar. So you could take advantage of those extra dig sites. Have a better chance at doing that. All right, I think I'm going to open this library door because we're still on rank 3 and we have 3 gems. So let's see what we get here. We really would like to... Oh my God. Whoa. We've been offered the vault. Holy shit. And that is 40 coins. 40 coins. What the fuck? Whoa. Oh my God. 3 gems for 40 coins. What the fuck? Okay. And the vault also is going to have safety deposit boxes, isn't it? And who knows what else? Who knows what other information is going to be in there? It is a new room. There is this classroom once again. It says, while drafting in the classroom, you may draw new floor plans once for each drawing room in your house. Do we have any of those so far? No. Except the library. We have drafted the library. It's in your house. Does it count the schoolhouse as well? This is tough because I do really want 40 coins, but I also don't necessarily want a dead end here. The classroom, I guess the conference room is also a legitimate consideration because it doesn't spend any gems and it does give us the conference room, which is nice if we do get offered spread at some point. We want to take spread options because we want to be able to take advantage of that blessing of the chef, especially when we're being more liberal with our steps consumption here. But I was going to say, we either picking the conference room or the classroom secures us a doorway into rank 4, which we don't have just yet if we take the vault. And then we're banking on hopefully getting something through the den. But we do have 40 coins. So drafting the kitchen or the commissary is so cool all of a sudden, except we have spent all our gems. That's the biggest downside. Spending 3 gems to get the vault. When we don't already have a shop. It's just not the vault in this situation. We're not rich enough yet to afford the vault. We don't have a shop to spend our coins. A massive amount of coins, but still nowhere to spend them yet. And we would lose all our gems. And we would lose our opening into rank 4. So it's between the conference room and the classroom. And I think I am going to take the conference room because it's the more rare room. It is unusual rarity, and we're far less likely to see this compared to the classroom, which has already been offered, 2 other times? And the conference room doesn't spend a gem, and it also is a place we can come back to get stuff that gets spread through the house. That's such a powerful effect, not having to go back and check every single room for the coins that we spread from the office, or the patio gems that get spread around. So let's go ahead and take the conference room, but we're not going to draft it just yet because, well, it could be locked. And I want to draft the rest of rank 3, even if it is leading us in a more steps inefficient path. We'll take a little bit of a glance here to see if there might be any items on the table, but there might be a key there actually, but I won't need that key immediately if it is a key because I already have 4 of them. So we turn the other way and we head around, we go down twice and back around to the entrance hall because, we're going to find if we're laying the solid base that we're supposed to and drafting all of the rooms that are guaranteed unlocked that we can, then theoretically we're going to be able to recoup those steps because we'll have things like the kitchen or the guest bedroom or the nursery that we can use to fill out these rooms first. So let's do this. Now the pantry, this is the thing about this game that gets me so far is why does it rotate the pantry like this? Why, oh why, oh why, oh why? I'm gonna have to settle for a hallway. Once again, my brain just hates the feeling of putting these rooms, these doors that don't connect anywhere. It's like, no, that's a lost opportunity. But at the same time, the strength of the hallway is that when it is offered, it's no matter which way it gets randomly rotated, very, very likely to have some opening that continues somewhere. And right now, we'll take the key, first of all, but we also need to keep going to the rest of rank 3. So the hallway it is here. I'm interested with the utility closet to do some more experimenting. There's several things that we need to do with that regarding the dark room. I love the fact that we could potentially negate the effect of the gymnasium by turning off the lights. Could we also, is there ever a world where the utility closet would actually negate the effects of the dark room as well? I had wondered about that in between drafts, where could you just overcome that restriction of not being able to see your floor plans at all just by turning on the lights? That would be a fun thing to try eventually. But here we are going to take the hallway and keep going. And hopefully we get another, one way or the other, hopefully we get something to replenish our steps, because we are definitely spending those steps way more than we have before. But it is nice, though, that we've got a nice stockpile of keys. Speaking of the gym, but also speaking of steps. Oh boy. So the one downside here of taking the nursery is that we have, well, there's a couple downsides. You have to spend a gem, but you could get more gems in the process because it is a nursery or it's a bedroom. But we have already drafted the bedroom, and that is one of the options at common. If I go to my cheat sheet here, we still have the guest bedroom at common, and then we would have the boudoir at rank, not at rank, but at standard as well. But I have to remember that the nursery does count itself, correct? Like, the gymnasium is actually the exact opposite of what we need right now in terms of the steps restriction. However, we did actually pick up the running shoes that one time in the gym. So there may be a way for us to recoup some of those lost steps. And the other thing here is drafting the nursery does, cut us off from the rest of rank 3. Until we, or I should say, it cuts us off from one other potential entryway into rank 4. But we have that in the conference room. And we kind of need steps. We're going through steps like no tomorrow. And it probably makes sense to take the nursery here. And the fact that the conference room is up against the wall is nice, because it does mean that if we get offered an elbow, that it's going to be pointed in the right direction. Now, will the elbows after that be pointed in the right direction? Actually, they might, because, well, they would be, if there was an elbow that we took, it would point up into rank 5, I think. Whatever elbow comes out of the conference room is going to point to the left, and then the next elbow would point up to the right. I think there is some consistency there. If we took the gym, we would be down to 19 steps, but we would be drafting the last door in rank 3. And then we could get lucky at that point and get a nursery. But then we would be spending those steps. This is the thing. Whatever we do get from the nursery is going to be spent going back to the conference room. But we are getting the future. We're investing in those future bedrooms and getting a lot more benefit out of them. The good thing, the positive of drafting the gym here would be that we're very unlikely, assuming that we don't get dead-ended and we do draft up into rank 4 from this direction, we're very unlikely to want to come back here. So far, our incentive is likely that we would go to the conference room to collect our items that we've spread throughout the estate. And so we would not be crossing over the gymnasium. In all likelihood, we would not be crossing it over again. But we're starting to get a little bit, maybe not dangerously low on steps, to be honest. I feel like maybe I am being overcautious when it comes to my steps, and that I need to just trust that the game is going to give us what we need going forward, and that we just need to keep our options open here. Don't cut myself off with just the conference room, because I feel desperate for steps. You're at 22 steps. That's more than enough still to navigate back to the conference room if you really needed to. You're hoping not to. You're hoping to make it through the gym and up into rank 4. And then we have a fully fleshed out rank 3 to build that base from. Let's trust. Nervous as I say that. This game is so much fun. It's getting nerve-wracking at certain points because these decision points are so difficult. And I'm still learning as well. So many of these decision points are going to look different as things go along, as I become more experienced, hopefully. But I think the gymnasium is the correct choice in this instance. Don't love it, but I think it is the correct choice. Do we have any spare change on the court? No, and no running shoes this time. So, however, we do get the final room in rank 3. Look at that pretty 1, 2, 3, just fully fleshed out the way that I always dreamed. Maybe not the way that I always dreamed. I didn't quite dream to be at 19 steps at this point, but we do have 5 keys and we have 3 gems. We've been collecting and hoarding our other resources, so hopefully that pays off for us. What do we get here to close out rank 3? Another red room to spend that coin in? I think so. Because now we do need to be, unfortunately, see, this is the thing. The elbows are random. If you are not directly up against the wall, and you're forcing your elbow not to go into a wall. Otherwise, the game says, I'm just going to flip a coin. So we can't draft the observatory here because it doesn't point in the right direction. God damn it. Why? So we settle for the chapel here, and we really don't want to come back through the west wing. We do not want to get us away from this little spot in the house. Definitely get us back over to the eastern side. So yeah, chapel it is. Now, is there ever a world? Am I ever? No. I was going to say, am I ever walking all the way back to the conference room to draft from there? No, we draft from the chapel. That's an overthinking thought that I'm getting caught in too much because I want to min-max, like, oh, I don't want to go past the gymnasium again and lose another 2 steps. But if you just draft from the chapel, the only thing, I'm just worried that we're going to get dead-ended at the chapel. But because of the way that elbows get flipped and everything, we should be fine. So chapel it is, and now we head our way into rank 4. We pay the tithe, god damn it, because we have to. One of these days, someone is going to have left. I know it's a red room, but they didn't say that extra items were never in red rooms. They just said they were seldom. So one of these days, somebody is going to have left their tithe laying around for us to pick up, right? That's the world I'm going to live in. Okay, time to draft once again. Rank 4, and there's our dining room. And I think that's probably what we get. The only problem is it's here at rank 4. That is the only issue. Now, the dining room, I have to remind myself the rarity on the dining room here. It is standard, so it's not super unlikely that we're going to see this again. It could be that the correct pick here is just the West Wing Hall, because the dining room can go theoretically anywhere. And this is like a picture-perfect spot for the West Wing Hall, correct? So actually, the West Wing Hall is, the more I think about it, the slam dunk pick. We want the dining room to be as close to rank 8 as we can get it. And it's probably it's a small chance, very small chance that we're not going to see it offered again. So I like the idea of taking the West Wing Hall here and heading on in. Rank 4 time. Still have our half-torn note here that still doesn't quite make too much sense yet. Now this time we're gonna try to keep following the same game plan of staying at rank 4. I think the only consideration here is that now that we are at rank 4, we're gonna start seeing locked doors. So is this the point at which do you keep drafting across the house? Do you keep doing that? Or is now the point where you said, okay, I've built my base at ranks 1, 2, 3, and now whichever ways the house bobs and weaves, whichever meandering path I take through the rest of the house is totally fine? And do you now start thinking about, like, I'm here on the West Wing Hall, we are only offered the garage when we are on the western side. Is this the point where I want to draft rank 5 and try to get the garage offered? Because as I've been going here, the fact that we are getting rooms, well, I have to remember, the conference room did get drafted via the library. So I've had this idea that it seems as though certain rooms are locked behind certain ranks. You only start getting offered those rooms once you've unlocked a particular rank, which I do think is true. However, I do think that there are rooms like the library and probably also the secret passage that seem to bypass that restriction. So now a room like the conference room, which you might normally only get offered at, who knows, rank 8 or something, the library puts that in play. I'm just thinking, like, at some point, you're going to start running out of keys. And if you spend your entire time, like, trying to fill the entire map, all 45 rooms, are you going to run out of keys before you run into more rooms like the garage that actually give you more keys? Now, the other consideration is that we could get the patio offered. The patio would spread a gem in each green room, except except we have a conference room that would collect those gems for us, and we would also get the buff. We would finally be able to activate the blessing of the chef and potentially get more steps if we could draft a dining room by getting a whole nother main course. So I think because of those reasons, because we could get offered a patio or a garage, those are both good enough reasons to try to draft this door here specifically because we're still on the west side. So let's do this one first. Okay. The bunk room does not help us other than potentially giving us items like gems. It doesn't specifically help us here. So I think it's between the pantry and the classroom. I kind of want it to be the pantry because we need to start collecting some coins. Now, it's interesting that the classroom has been offered so many times, but theoretically, there are like, well, the Schoolhouse says that we've added 8 rooms to our draft pool, correct? But so far, the only new one that we've seen offered is the classroom. Is it possible that these 8 new rooms have to be drafted one after the other? Do we need to draft the classroom in order to start seeing the other ones in the sequence? Or could it be that the other ones are just sufficiently rare that they haven't shown up yet? If we draft the pantry, we get a couple steps back, we get some coins, and we get to hold on to our gems for a little while longer. And I'm not ready to draft at the classroom yet. I don't want to draft at rank 5 until I'm done with rank 4. So I'm going to keep my powder dry a little bit longer here, and we're going to draft the pantry. And I think I will take the extra couple steps to get my coins because I do recoup those steps. There's always, there's like the min-max thinking of would I ever wait to get a salt shaker to come back and pick up this apple? But I'm gonna do this now and just take the 2 steps and then go back to rank 4 and draft from here because it is less likely that we're gonna run into keycard doors and locked doors while we're on this rank. So let's go ahead and draft here. This one is locked, so we do have to use a key. And I think we do that before we run all the way around to the conference room. The other option would be to just draft from the pantry, right? That would be one argument for drafting from that direction, is holding on to a key. I'm going to go ahead and use the key here, though. Stay at rank 4. Stay at rank... That's a drafting studio. Okay. I've been wanting to get back to the drafting studio, although I had wanted to get back there with a magnifying glass. But I had also wanted to get back there to add new floor plans to our pool, except we've never seen the casino. So what the heck? The drafting studio is very exciting, and it gets us to continue our way across rank 4. So that feels like a very easy call. I do want my lucky rabbit's foot, but I was hoping for this to show up a little bit sooner. And I hate to put a dead end right here in the middle of rank 4. I would have loved to have that rabbit's foot while I was going all the way through these first 3 ranks. The drafting studio would also synergize with the classroom once we finally do actually draft that. But the drafting studio does cost 2 gems. So, is it worth it? We have been there before, and we don't have the items. We don't have the magnifying glass this time. No, wait, we did have the magnifying glass before. What am I thinking of? I think what I am thinking of is the fact that in the drafting studio, there is a note. We saw, I think it was a blue note. I can just check my notes to find out, and there it is. There was a blue note that talks about the Great Hall. I didn't understand it at the time because we hadn't drafted the Great Hall yet, but it does give the Great Hall partitioning plan for, at the time, this I think it was day 3, because it says for Monday, November 9th. So theoretically, I think the drafting studio might reveal to you the floor plan or the layout of the 7 locked rooms in the Great Hall. The problem is we don't have a great hall. And I don't know, this might be one of those order considerations where drafting the studio after or before the Great Hall doesn't reveal the plans to you. It's only if you've drafted the Great Hall first that the drafting studio would show you. I don't want to take the coat check because we've already passed up so many rooms where I would have loved to have gotten items. And because we're so low on steps, it's getting kind of risky that we might not even make it back to the coat check. There is that world where that might happen. And hell, I want to add a new floor plan permanently to my estate pool. So let's take it. Let's go to the draft studio, even though it spends 2 gems, and I might be spending my gems too frivolously. We do get a key. So the drafting studio can sometimes have some extra items. Was that a thing before? I don't think so. I think that was not there previously. So nice. I see a pawn as a chess piece down here. Okay. And also there are the different colors to the chess pieces. I hadn't noticed white versus black chess pieces. Interestingly, that is a black pawn. I had felt like most of them. I hadn't noticed that there was a different color between the chess pieces. So I don't know if that detail is important. Might be one of those things. It doesn't matter. But I just happened to note it. Okay. Okay. We've got our sketches over here, which I still don't know what the hell those do. Here's the partitioning plan. And sure enough, the date is different. I don't know if... We don't know. I just don't know if this changes, if we somehow get lucky and draft the Great Hall. I'd love to be able to come back here and take a look. But for now, we don't have that answer as to whether that shows up after the fact. Okay, let's look at our potential new floor plans. Alrighty. Yes. I did see that it was offering the dormitory, which we have seen before. Each time you enter the dormitory, after drafting a drafting room or drawing room, I gotta figure out what that icon is called, gain 10 steps. Okay, I think I had misunderstood this as well the first time we were here, because the entry effects happen each time you enter that room, which is potentially very powerful depending on where this dormitory is. And I suppose those would stack. Like if you had drafted 2 of these rooms, you go back to the dormitory, you should get both of those at the same time, right? You would get 20 steps. The other option, which is a new, or the other 2 options I think were both new, or we've only been here the second time, but either way, we haven't seen this room, the kennel. Each time you dig in a room, unlock all doors in that room. Huh? What an interesting effect. Home to several of Sinclair's hunting companions, it can be assumed these friendly hounds have been anxious to meet their new master. The doggo room, the kennel. Each time you dig in a room, unlock all doors. Does that include security keycard doors? I'm not super thrilled by that. That is a very, it's a very specific effect. You not only have to have the kennel, but you have to have the shovel. So you have to have 2 synergies. And so far the shovel, we've only gotten it 1 time. I don't know. This one, at least, you're very likely to get the drawing room. So I guess you have there's the drawing room at common, and then you have the nursery as well as the pool at uncommon or standard. Those are the rooms that would synergize with the dormitory, which feels more likely to a more likely synergy to get than the kennel. However, you do have to return to the dormitory. The nice thing about the kennel is this is just active. So this room could be anywhere. You just have that effect as you go, which is not bad. The last one is the clock tower. Tomorrow, you will start with 1 key for each tomorrow room you draft today. That could be pretty amazing. Oh my God. It's a dead end room, and it does cost a gem. These others don't cost any gems, correct? Ooh, huh. Access to Mount Holly's clock tower has always been heavily restricted. Time is sacred, and any tampering of the state's governing timepiece has never been risked. These tomorrow rooms do seem like very powerful effects. And the greedy part of me is like, that's a problem for tomorrow. I don't want to worry about that yet. But you have enough of these that stack on top of another, and all of a sudden you've got one run. You just have to wait a day, but you've got one run that is so much more powerful than normal. Does cost a gem though, and we seem to be spending so many gems. I do think I like this though. Like this one is more fun to me, or it feels more powerful than those others that are. They might be easier to get to. I don't know if they're easier to get to work because they do rely on other rooms or items. This one does as well. But this is an ongoing effect, I think. It says tomorrow you will start with one key for each tomorrow room that you draft today. It's not for each tomorrow room that you've already drafted. So you get this as a dead end. You don't have to come back here. And you get the ongoing effect for every other type of room like this. I think we add this one. Let's add the clock tower. I like it. Okay, clock tower permanently added to your draft pool, for better or for worse. And now we continue across and hope to get some more gems. Let's see what we've got here. No! The passageway! Oh, the passageway was such a bust, wasn't it? The dark room could also be such a bust. The dark room. We do not have the utility closet to potentially test my theory of, what was my theory? My theory of potentially turning on the lights. My theory of turning on the lights in the dark room to see if that subverts or undoes this restriction of not seeing the floor plans. It probably doesn't, but that would be so much fun if it did. It's just because it does have that effect on the gymnasium. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it can do more than we think. I think the darkroom is the right choice here. I don't know. The closet gets us gems. The problem is we would have to turn around and start drafting from the pantry, I think. Which is not terrible. Like, if the closet has a chance to get us more gems. Let me actually look and see, what did we get from the closet previously? We've gotten a metal detector and a die. We've gotten a key and a gem. We've gotten a silver key and a gem. And we've gotten a die and a gem. Those are all pretty good. Like, having a die to reroll as well is very nice. If we ever do, if we ever live in the world where we have to backtrack to the conference room from here, is that ever something we would do? We would spend so many steps, wouldn't we? And we would spend a coin going through the chapel. I really don't want to do that. Which means if I don't want to do that, then I probably need to draft the dark room. But the dark room is a risk, right? The dark room could just very well be another dead end. And you might even have to spend a key to get it. So is it better to just take the closet now, get a dead end that gives you also gems, and now you go draft in the pantry? And you try to work your way across to maybe connect up with the conference room. We really do want to connect up with the conference room. We don't want to have a dead end that cuts us off from the conference room. In the fortunate event of being able to spread stuff around the house. An interesting detail is that the patio, if for some reason we were to draft the patio above the conference room, it would point in the wrong direction, I think. I think the patio would be faced the wrong way. 15, 14, 13, minus 2 for the gym is 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We would be down to 4 steps if we go back to the conference room from here. And so far, we still have not done anything to get us. We haven't done any like nursery or kitchen or any room that really helps us get our steps back up. We passed that dining room, but we're still a long ways off from the dining room, right? Rank 8 is quite a ways to go still. And I think if we are going to make it to rank 8, we're going to need items. But also it really sucks to put a dead end right in the middle. Right in the middle of your floor. So, okay, let me think about the dark room here. The dark room we have at common. What do we have left at common? We still have the closet and the guest bedroom. We also have the kitchen, which we would, you know, the dark room would tell us if we have a gem option, and the kitchen could be one of those. Not that we would know whether it's facing the right way. The chapel we've drafted. So there's the drawing room. There's the drawing room and there's the kitchen at common. There's also the closet and the guest bedroom. At uncommon, there's still all of the dead ends, but there are some of them that are gem dead ends. Like you have to spend a gem to get the nursery or the walk-in closet. I think I'm going to take the risk with the dark room. If nothing else, it could be a dark room plus a dead end room that's right after that. And we were already putting a dead end room there with the closet. The closet is already cutting us off from the conference room on this rank. So we're basically turning around. We are spending a few extra steps if we take the dark room. And maybe that's important enough, right? That like this is an extra 2 steps that we're adding to our trip here by taking the dark room. Okay, I think I talked myself out of it. We're going to take the closet because we need the gems. We need the gems, and I really don't want to shoot in the dark into the rest of rank 4. It just feels like too much uncertainty. The certainty of getting items here is what feels less bad. And I do see it looks like a die and a gem. Okay, good. Die plus gem is, okay, we can feel a little bit better about ourselves because we're good on keys at least. We've done a good job putting ourselves in a position of not worrying about locks for the short term. We hope there's no key card doors, but now we do turn around and we head to the pantry. I suppose if I were being really observant, I would have looked to see if there were a key card door here in the pantry. Can key card doors appear here? Don't tell me. Let's draft it though. No lock is nice. And now we probably take the dining room. Except it doesn't point in the right direction. But none of these point in the right direction. The classroom doesn't point in the right direction. So we have to take the dining room now. Pretty easy dining room here, right? Easy dining room. And we hope to have a little bit better luck with the freaking floor plan rotations here in the next room. I'll take my dining room here at rank 5. This does incentivize us. There's a stronger incentive for us to try to reach rank 8 more quickly. So who knows? Maybe taking a left-hand turn here is not the worst thing that could happen. We got to use a key. But we do. You've got to be kidding me, dude. All right, I guess we're taking a guest bedroom because we're going to have to go back to the conference room. Holy shit, dude. That is insane. That feels so unlucky. That feels baby rage, unlucky. The bunk room could get us gems, but boy, do we need steps. Because otherwise we're not making it back to the conference room, right? I think the only way is to take the guest bedroom. And even then we might be very close to being out of a run just because, and gosh, that traps our dining room as well. Bro, I think we're done. We're literally cooked, aren't we? Holy shit, man. It didn't pay off, or at least it hasn't yet. Our strategy. Yeah, we can't get back to the dining room. This is so terrible, except I have a reroll. I almost forgot. We just picked up a die. Holy shit. Think through your options before you think it's the end of the world. This is a redraw. Please don't screw me over for a second time. Okay. Okay. Interesting. We finally get offered one of the other new Schoolhouse added floor plans, which unfortunately is a dead end. But it's the study. While drafting, you may spend gems to redraw floor plans up to 8 times. Bro, do I look like I'm made out of gems? What is this? You may spend gems to redraw plan. What the? I mean, if you're desperate enough, this is pretty powerful. We have a dark room potentially here. And I think we're supposed to take the dark room, aren't we? The other option is the classroom. And we did say that all of a sudden now getting to rank 8 and procking that dining room is much more tempting. But at the same time, now I'm feeling a little more or a little less risk averse with the dark room, and because now the fact that, okay, I could draft an elbow at each of these places and I could feel just fine about it. I don't care what I almost don't care what direction my elbows face, because now they're going to point somewhere new. At least with the first room that I draft, I would the least favorable outcome for us would be an elbows that point to each other. Like if we draft out the top of the dark room and we get an elbow that faces right, and we draft out of the right of the dark room and get an elbow that faces up. 2 elbows that point to the same room at rank 6 would be less than ideal. I think we take the dark room here, and this is where we try to get a little lucky, and maybe we even use the information from the gem rooms that are offered to our advantage. So I'm going to take the dark room. We keep passing these schoolhouse options that are not getting. We're not doing our studying, man. We're not hitting the books. Who really wants to hit the books, though? When you can go into, okay, maybe you're not passing up the books to hit the dark room, but no, it's a key card door, though. Fuck me. God damn it. Hate this game. This game sucks, guys. Don't buy this game. Terrible game. You never get rewarded for any of your risky decisions. Punished at every turn. And there's no keycard lying around here either, which is what I was hoping I might somehow. There's never going to be a keycard in the dark room. Who am I kidding? At least there was no lock. There was no lock on this door. And there is a 2-gem room. The 2-gem room is expensive. It's because it's 2 gems. However, there's a very limited set of options that this could be. It could be the office, which is at standard rarity. It could be the passageway, which is probably the most likely one since it's a common. And what else? What else? We also have the casino is 2 gems. That's interesting, but it is unusual rarity. We also have the 1 gem option that's been offered. The single gem options at commonplace are the kitchen, and at standard we have quite a few actually. The nursery and the walk-in closet, which would dead end us and we would be done for. There's also the observatory and the commissary. For a second, I was thinking we might take that single gem room and try to hope for the kitchen. The problem is we're at 2 gems. We're at 2 gems, and I would hate to, I don't know. The passageway here feels, at first, here's the problem with the passageway. At first, it feels good. You're like, oh, I've opened up 3 options for myself. The problem is we're at rank 6. All 3 of those could potentially be locked. We haven't drafted the foyer yet. I don't think we've ever even been offered the foyer. Who knows how much it costs? It probably maybe it's a 3 gem cost room. But until we draft something like the foyer, the passageway, any of those 3 doors could be locked. The office is potentially very exciting because it spreads coins to the conference room. And if we can get back to the dining room after reaching rank 8, we're getting a whole shitload of steps. And we would be able to reach the conference room. I think that might make it worth the risk of spending my last 2 gems. Because we get either the passageway or we get the office, most likely. We could also get the casino. And we could have some fun doing some gamba, even though I don't have any coins. Although maybe it doesn't cost coins to gamble. I don't know. The important thing about spending 2 gems, though, is that we are guaranteeing, I think, unless there is a dead end that I'm not aware of that costs 2 gems or that I've forgotten about, we are guaranteeing that our run is not over. And so I think that makes it so that spending your gems, you're going to lose your gems if your run's over anyways, so you might as well spend them. And I feel like this is our best option to guarantee that we don't have a dead end. Because if I take this 0 gem option, I still have the guest bedroom at common, and I still have the utility closet, the coat check, and the lavatory at uncommon. And those options are more likely to be on the left. That changes quite a bit, I think, because we've got these gem requirements here. So this could be a lot of other things besides dead ends. And it could be that the higher upside play is to take your chances and say, well, if you get a dead end, then okay, you just finish your run. But your higher upside is holding on to those gems and seeing if you get lucky by not having a dead end in this spot. I'm going to go ahead and spend the gems. And either a passageway or the office is good enough in this circumstance, I think. The office also potentially gets us a permanent upgrade with the upgrade disc. Another reason to prioritize it if it's an option. So, Gamba, sort of. It is the passageway. Okay. Okay, so we have options now. And the first option is probably to draft to the right. Correct? Because at some point, well, I don't know. We have 10 steps left. Are we ever getting back to the conference room? What's the best option to draft here? Maybe we draft all 3 of them, you know, and we just see what we get in each direction. We did say we need to get the dining room, don't we? The thing about the blessing of the chef, the thing about this is an extra dish to the dining room. Is this another order thing? Does the order matter a lot here in that you have to spread? Do you have to spread before activating the rank 8 dinner bell? Or does a meal get added to the room each time you proc spread, each time you unlock a spread room, no matter where or when it is? We may not have the luxury of finding out or trying to get that order. We may have to just draft whatever rooms we can and get whatever steps we can. Or just basically going directly for rank 8 right now. But maybe not. Like, we're still at 10 steps. We're not at, like, 5 steps. We're not at a point of no return where we couldn't make it back to the dining room. We just need to be careful that at every point, we can potentially make it back to the dining room. Let's think about this. We have 10 now. We go to the passageway, is 9. And then we could draft up to rank 8. We would have to step into rank 8, I'm pretty sure. Because we have to go through, I remember we go into the room and that's when we get the dinner bell. So at a minimum, it takes us down to 7 steps to get to rank 8. And then we still have 4 steps to get back to the dining room. So we have 3 spare steps. We could essentially draft one of the rooms to the left. We could draft a room to the left or right and step into one of those rooms, presuming it's not like a guest bedroom. And maybe it's a good argument to draft this door to the left to see if it's like a guest bedroom or some other dead end that we would want to step into and get ourselves a gem. The point is, we can theoretically spend a couple extra steps here and still get back to the dining room if we're so lucky to get straight through to rank 8. No key cards getting in our way or anything like that. There's also the wine cellar and the mailroom, which would be very good dead ends to get here and that we would want to step into. So because of that, let's go ahead and draft to the left first, even if it's locked. Do any of these? Yeah, I'll have to start taking notes on whether there can be keycard doors. I think there might only be certain rooms that have the ability to be keycard doors, but I don't know. It could be anywhere. I haven't noticed that specifically. Let's draft here to the left, and we will use a key. And it is a guest bedroom. Okay. That's nice. We take it. It's obviously the only option that we can take. So there it is, our guest bedroom, and there is a gem. Okay. We do get the extra item this time. All right, so feeling a little bit buoyed in the steps department. We're not quite barely, and the nautical themed guest bedroom doing its job. Now we could maybe afford to try to draft out to the right first and see what, if we're able to work our way, because it still would be nice if we can fill out those lower ranked rooms because they're less likely to be locked, right? So here is where I will try to drink. I will try to draft to the right, but if it's locked, I might have a decision. Okay, not locked. The weight room, lose half your steps, LOL. Okay. We did get the wine cellar here, which is a bit unfortunate. It's fortunate, but also unfortunate. Because I want gems, and we need gems. Losing half your steps is pretty funny with the weight room. Because this is like the optimal time to take it. This could This is maybe the best time ever to take a weight room. Other than when you don't have the shelter, at least. We do have a gem. I just realized we do have a gem to draft the classroom if we really wanted to. If we take the weight room, we're essentially right back in the same spot that we were just a moment ago, where now we are still forced to draft to the north to try to get to rank 8 and get our dining room. We don't have the luxury anymore to try to meander around a little bit. Man, the wine cellar. You need those gems, but man, putting a dead end right smack dab here. Oh, man, what a choice. But I'm not even sure I could take the classroom because wouldn't it also give me the security keycard door, just like the dark room did to the right? I think we do take the wine cellar here. The world we live in is where we take 3 gems. Yes, we're putting a dead end here, but it gives us maximum flexibility drafting up to rank 8. Assuming we don't get super unlucky with dead ends or key cards, that's always a possibility, but we give ourselves the most draft options at each rank, and then we unlock the dining room, which gets us a whole bunch of extra steps, and maybe we spread some stuff in the process and we get even more steps. That's the world we live in, where we're able to continue our draft, and who knows, maybe even get back around to the conference room where we can continue drafting from rank 4. Who knows? Maybe if our dining room pays off enough, that could work. So let's live in that world. And if not, you know, we end our run and we move to the next day. This is the thing. I put a lot of stress on myself for trying to make the most I want each day to be the best possible draft it can be. But I got to remember, we're not, you know, it's not a game like Hearthstone or Magic where you're paying some sort of in-game currency for each of these runs. These are all just free. It's just the time that you're spending stepping around the estate, walking around the estate, running around the estate. It's just that time spent. And otherwise, you get to re-roll for free and start a new draft. So let's take the wine cellar, save our steps. I may do a workout after this run IRL just to work off some of the stress that has been built up from a couple of somewhat the rough seas of 2 days in a row in the Mount Holly estate. These past 2 runs have been, you know, a little topsy-turvy, and we have not made any use out of our schoolhouse yet, have we? We've gotten this library into the conference room, but that hasn't paid off for us yet. So hopefully we can make it happen here. We just need steps. And doing a workout in the Mount Holly estate is not going to help in that regard. It is locked, of course, because we are at that stage of the game where pretty much everything's going to be locked. Yo, what the fuck are these options? What is this? I'll take a boudoir, but why am I getting two goddamn dead ends here? I don't need dead ends right now, guys. Okay, all right, we take the boudoir. Coat check, give me a break. Holy shit, this is why I haven't had my lucky rabbit's foot, guys. Otherwise, this run would have been on such a better footing. All right, boudoir it is. Probably going to have another locked door after this, and we're drafting in rank 6, but it is what it is. Another bedroom that could have gotten us steps and gems in the previous run. Oh my god. Let me just make sure there's no gems laying around here. This is the great thing about this game, though, is that it is going to have so much replayability. Even who knows how long it's going to take to piece together all of the mysteries of the estate. But even when you finally get to that point where you've gone through however many dozens or who knows how many runs, you get to play it all again. Starting this game over from the beginning is going to be fun, even if you know all the things. Metroid Brainia-wise, there's nothing like a new draft. Aha, it's not locked. And we have gems to spend this time. And now we have a commissary. We don't have any coins, so we might not really be able to make use of this commissary, which means we maybe want to take the classroom. We've not drafted the security room this run, so the utility closet doesn't help us deactivate key cards. The utility closet would turn the dark room back on if there were ever an instance where we said, you know what, this run ain't gonna make it. Let's see what's in the dark room. Let's actually turn the lights on. But I don't think we're at that point yet, because the classroom does get us to rank 8. The classroom gets us to rank 8, and we do get to ring the dinner bell. And we finally get to see the classroom, for fuck's sake. The classroom, I do think, is going to count itself, if I didn't say that before. So it's going to have the classroom and the library and the drafting studio. So we can actually, in the classroom at least, we can redraw 3 times to really get what we want. That is pretty sick, and I think that's a good enough reason, just because we have no coins. We didn't take the vault, although this run probably would have been over a lot sooner. At the conference room, we never did make it back around to the conference room. We could have taken the vault, but we would have had 0 gems, right? So we would not have made it into the drafting studio, although that really only affects future runs. Well, I don't know. Maybe the drafting studio has added that new room. What did we add? The clock tower? That might be in the draft pool for all I know. Those rooms just may be extremely rare. Actually, we could check. Except not right at this moment. I have to draft first. Let's draft. The commissary does not get us extra steps. If this were the kitchen, I might think a little more strongly toward that option. But I think the classroom is the correct pick here. Especially because we get to re-roll. That's pretty cool. All right, before we go in there, let's quickly check a couple things. Let me first check my, I forget, R is my room directory, and I can check the studio editions. We actually have 2 studio editions. The classroom gets added to this. It is counted as an addition, but I think that's only a temporary edition, right? Is that not correct? Hold on. Am I just now realizing something? The outer rooms, Schoolhouse, it does add 8 classrooms to today's draft pool. These are temporary additions. So I think this is going to be gone after today. But the clock tower should be permanent. And it does say that access to Mount, it's unusual, first of all, which is the same as the casino. Access to Mount Holly's clock tower has always been heavily restricted, which might explain why maintenance has been unable to mend the perpetually halted clock face, a testament to the unchanging winds of the sacred hour. I kind of want to screenshot that. If nothing else, I mean, I've screenshot all of these rooms just so I remember the rarity, but sacred hour in italics. Are they showing us the sacred hour here? 1:30? Why is 1:30 the sacred hour, if in fact this is the sacred hour here? It could be that it's not showing us the sacred hour here on this diagram. We might actually have to draft the clock tower to see that. But it's stuff like this that there's details that could be important. And my brain sees them when I see italics. And then let's also read about the one that we just drafted, which is an exact copy of the floor plan used in the architectural design of Reddington Elementary. These copies were deployed in Mount Holly as a short-term solution to allow the curriculum to continue uninterrupted while the new school was being built in town. Okay, let's check it out. The classroom. Grade 1. We have our alphabet. Can we spin the globe? Not this one. This is a big, like, this is like an exercise ball globe. Doubles as a learning and recess tool. There's an apple here. I should have guessed that. Of course, there's an apple in the classroom for the teacher. Okay, plus 2 steps we take. What is this? Color worksheet. Fill in each object below with its correct color. Okay, we have a fire hydrant, a lizard, a wagon, a pumpkin. Are there clues on this worksheet? I'll screenshot it because you never know. My favorite color is, I think my favorite color is actually blue. No bias for either the current game that we're playing or the fact that my name is Akinar, but I think there might have been a point when it was red as a kid, but I think as I've gotten older, I think I do like blue. Blue is just so nice and calming. It's a great color. We have our color wheel as well. A classroom puzzle. What? Can you find the difference? Hello. This is where our 2 sketches are in the classroom. We still don't know what these do or if they have any importance at all other than just being random flavor added to our day. Oh, okay. There are some color worksheets on the desks. Interesting. Benny filled out Benny. I'm not sure if that's a boy or girl's name. My favorite color is red. Each color is only used twice. 10 out of 12. They got graded on this? And Benny only got a B+? Why is that? Is that because... Oh, because the lizard was supposed to be green? Okay. I see. So they made the mistake of using red twice. Sorry, 3 times for the wagon, the hydrant, and the lizard. It should have been broccoli and the lizard. I see, I get it now. There's 2 items that are green. Sorry, there's 2 items of each color. But we at least got partial credit here because we didn't use... No, wait a second. Each color is only used twice. That's... Oh, each color is only supposed to be used twice. That's why we got marked down 2 points. I see. See, okay, but you should have put that on the worksheet. Technically speaking, that instruction should have been on the worksheet, teacher. I was just filling out the literal... This is how I would respond if I were getting graded, getting a B+ on this. Like, you did not see, the worksheet did not see that I had to do 2 colors only. Why did we get 9 of 12 here? Because the lizard... Oh, because we just mismatched things. The lizard is purple. The blueprint is yellow. Okay. How do you know what color the flag is? I guess by process of elimination. There are 2 flags here, aren't they? Okay. So, Freddy also loves red. Freddy's a fan of red. RJ, also red. We got a bunch of red bias up in here. What is this? What is this? Who's the teacher in this classroom? Oh, oh, I see. This is because we're living under the red curtain, isn't it? This whole red crown, red prince, red guard, all good to know that the indoctrination in the classroom here is sinking in. All the students are taking to the color red just as readily as they are supposed to. Caleb is falling right in line here. There we go. So he did so well to fill in everything's red. How come he didn't get 12 out of 12? Because he didn't fill in everything. If he'd have filled in everything as red, maybe it would have been a different story. Okay, we're having some fun here in the classroom. Interestingly, what the fuck is this? Look at these numbers. Screenshot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Infinity. 9, 10. That could also be a clue. Look close up at this chalkboard because we did almost miss some relevant close-up details in a previous chalkboard. But here I think we are, there's nothing to find. So we get to do some drafting with rerolls. If I'm correct here, we do have to use a key, which is annoying. We're down to 1 key. But we do get to redraw if we need. We actually have 4 redraws. Is this... It is counting... Oh, shit. I think it is counting the schoolhouse. Oh, shit. It counts the schoolhouse. That's pretty sweet. This nursery would have been useful a long time ago, bro. It's a little late. The boiler room gets us to rank 8. Now, okay, here's the thing. Here is the thing. The nursery, while it is a little late, does get us to rank 8. Unintentional rhyme. It also does get us 8 footsteps. And it would get us the dining room. The main course in the dining room, that is. And then we would be able... Between those 8 steps and whatever we get in the dining room, we could make it back to the conference room. So our dead end here is still pretty annoying. Because it's really not, it's really just, like, we could draft any room here to get us to rank 8. That's the thing. We don't need the nursery. The nursery is adding 8 steps because we draft it as a bedroom. But then we don't have the bedroom anymore. We've already drafted the bedroom, the guest bedroom, and the boudoir. So I don't think it's the nursery here. Is the boiler room good enough? The boiler room might be good enough because I've kind of been wanting to check the boiler room again and do some experimentation. Because I think in looking at my footage, I misunderstood where some of the levers were going in the boiler room. So that could be an interesting choice to play around with. If I were going to redraw here, we have 4 redraws. Can we do better than the boiler room? I mean, once again, with the boiler room, the one of the problems here is that we are not able to draft down along the eastern side. At the same time, with only 1 key, that seems pretty unlikely as it is. Let me just make sure. If we take something other than the nursery here, can we still make it back to the conference room? We're at 15 steps. We would have to go into the boiler room or whatever room we draft. That would get us to 14. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get us back to the dining room. So we have 9. We get a minimum of 20 from the main course. So we give 29. That should be enough to get us back to the conference room, even with the gymnasium in our way. And we still have a good amount of steps left to explore up that right-hand side. I do want to check out the boiler room, but with 4 redraws, and they only happen in this room, we can't go anywhere else. It kind of feels like what we should try to do here is try to get lucky. Try to get a room that is maybe rare. Obviously, there could be bad rooms at rare, like the furnace. That would get you absolutely nothing. At the same time, the boiler room is something that I do want to experiment with again, so I'm not sure here. The other thing that we could go for here is the office or one of the other rooms that spreads. I don't know if we could get any other rooms, but getting our buff here, our spread buff, along with the fact, right as we're getting to rank 8, that would be pretty sick. We should reroll. I think we should reroll here. I don't think that we'll get the boiler room down the road at some point, and maybe we even get it right now as we redraw. Let's see if we can do better. Because maybe we even get one of the rooms that we've never been offered before. Like the casino. There's a mail room. There's a mail room. A mail room is pretty decent. And we could give a buff, give that buff to tomorrow's run. Because now it does feel like it's close to winding down, but maybe not. Like we said, we're getting steps back to get to the conference room once we get our meal. So we might be not close to done. And we did have kind of a lackluster package yesterday in the mailroom. It's already, it's a little weird having 2 drafts in the same day, but I kind of want to redraw again. Could security do anything for us here? Not really, because we don't have the utility closet, so we can't get through this room in the dark room, and we're down to 1 key anyways. That is an argument to say, hey, take your mailroom, because you're actually down to your last key. We have 3 more redraws, though. I want to keep gambling, man. The gamba instinct in me is too strong. Redraw that shit. I wonder if you can't get the same option. It might say, we're going to redraw, but you're not going to be offered the new option. Or a new option. I might just take the observatory here. Add another star to our list. This is powering up our future runs. It does spend a gem, but it allows us to keep drafting if we so choose in this direction, but we might still go back to the conference room to make it less likely that we get locks, and I think that might be what I do. But then it does potentially, well, it locks us off from the left-hand side, right? If we take the observatory, we're no longer getting into the left-hand side of the map today. But I mean, I still want to get lucky with 2 more redraws. We can do better. This is so, oh man, the utility closet as well. We could check the dark room and see if that has some cool stuff in it. But I feel like I want to get lucky, man. I want to get a rare room here. That's why you have this classroom, right? Because you just keep rolling. Oh shit. Oh shit, that's a freezer. Oh, fuck. That is a freezer, folks. And we've already gotten our wine cellar. There's not going to be too many more ways to add gems to our pool, I don't think. We could also get a kitchen. This is not a bad kitchen, right? Because this gets us more steps and allows us to keep drafting theoretically. So the kitchen might also be a play here. We just don't have too many coins. So because of that, the freezer's also not great because we just don't have coins. The last option is to redraw. Redraw one more time. Get lucky. I'm sort of ruling out the archives here because 3 doors at rank 8 with 1 key doesn't seem like a great plan. With 4 coins and the kitchen, we're likely only getting like a couple bananas, which would get us what, 6 steps? It's not nothing. But we also, with the main course on the way, it's not necessarily our priority. We said, so we get 14 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 29. We could theoretically get, we don't have a boiler room or a furnace or a morning room. I think those are the options that we've seen so far for main courses. So we're very likely to just get 20 steps from the dining room. We still didn't proc our blessing of the chef. Man, this has been a bust so far. That would be one more reason to redraw. Try to get that spread. Office. Give me that office. I think I might do it. Because none of these seem that thrilling. I think I'm going to redraw. Because realistically here, even if we end up taking a dead end, the main event is still going to be getting our dining room, our 29 steps. And then it takes us 13 steps to get back to the conference room. We still have 16 steps left over. That dining room is really the main act. I think at this point, we'll live with that. And one more step to get a spread and the office is worth the redraw, I think. Let's go. And we get one more chance to roll the dice. Roll it, baby. Yo, you can get another classroom? What the fuck? You can get another... I get it now. The store... Not the store. The... Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay. The pool is also pretty dang good. But what the classroom... I get it. That's why we're seeing so many of these things, because there's 8 of them. It's... Okay. This may have seemed very obvious to all of you the first time you played this game. I'm playing this game for the first time. I'm a dummy. It's a blind playthrough. I, for some reason, thought I didn't take the name. It says in the name of the room, literally classroom. When I read Schoolhouse adds 8 classrooms to your pool, I thought it was like, oh, we're getting 8 different school-related rooms. There's going to be 8 different rooms added to our draft pool. Oh my God, that's going to be so much new exploration. Think of all the different details that we're going to get. And so that's why I thought, oh, we have to draft this classroom and then we'll get another one added to our pool. I mean, maybe it works like that. You get grade 1 and then you get grade 2 and grade 3 and so on and so forth. It just now occurs to me that these are not 8 unique rooms with all different effects. They're 8 of the same room. And they all synergize with each other, of course, because of course they do. That means we don't have to draft a classroom here. We could just draft the pool. Could also draft the maid's chamber. I'm just thinking about now, okay, yeah, so what is the decision here? Now that I finally understand what is going on with classrooms, why am I like this? Totally didn't get it until just this moment. We want to draft the pool, don't we? We want to draft the pool because, I mean, it adds a sauna. 20 extra steps for tomorrow's run. And it adds a locker room, which spreads a whole bunch of keys, and those could be spread to the conference room. This is a pretty easy pool, isn't it? It's got to be the pool. My only concern is gems, but they only cost 1 gem to draft the pool. Does it cost gems to draft the locker room? It does cost 1. So between, I think it's got to be the pool here. It also happens to add the most doors, but we're really running low on keys. But also the locker room adds keys. And they would be all added to the conference room. So now this kind of finally maybe unlocks the strategy that we've been going for. We take the pool here. We take it. And we do step into the pool because this gives us the dinner bell. Keycard door to the left in the pool. That's not terribly unexpected, I suppose. We are not... Well, we could draft here. There's no actual downside in attempting to draft at the pool, because if it's locked, it'll give you the choice. And if it is locked, I don't want to use my key here. But there's no harm in checking. I don't think there's any harm in checking whether we could draft from the pool. It doesn't cost us an extra step here. And we should still be more than fine on steps. And if we draft the locker room here, I kind of want to see, that would be a perfect chance to test whether this blessing of the chef can be applied retroactively. Do we get that blessing even after the dinner bell has sounded? We're not going to be able to answer that question just yet because that is locked and I don't want to use my last key at that door. I think, correct? Because we can make it back around to the conference room now. And I want to start drafting from here. We might get unlucky and this might dead end us, but we're up against a wall and it's less likely that corner rooms or other rooms are going to be rotated in a way that's funky. One benefit of drafting alongside that eastern edge. So we go straight, right. Yeah, okay. So we make our way back to get our main course. And it looks like we've got our, is it the meatloaf or the country something? Country stew pie. That would have been one reason to draft the boiler room. I didn't think that through enough. We could have picked the boiler room but again, we don't know what the main course is until it's served because we don't have the kitchen. So that was at least a 1 in 3. I don't know how many main courses there are, but we've seen 3 so far. So we'll take our plus 20, which is what we were banking on. Yummy, yummy country stew pie. And now there's only one way to go to get back to the conference room. We just have to make sure we don't take any wrong turns. Can't be wasting steps. Not in this run. We've already wasted too many. And this was just a pen that was on the desk here. I thought I might have seen a key on the table in the conference room, but no such luck. There is an orange over here. Okay, I did forget about the fruit, admittedly. I think we found a piece of fruit before in the conference room, so they do leave us a snack for those extra steps. Something we could have factored into our thinking, potentially. Now we're at rank 4. Could be locked, but we're hoping that it's less likely to be. It is not locked in this case. Yo. That's a master bedroom. That is a master bedroom. Which gives us a +1 for each room in your house. +1 step. We have been faithfully drafting a pretty full house here. So this would get us 15. It counts itself, I would think. So 21, 22. Does the antechamber count, I wonder? Let's say it doesn't. If it doesn't, that still is 28 steps. All of a sudden, we're back in the game, steps-wise. But we're cut off from the rest of the house. So, and we're down 2 gems. So I think we have to take the security room here, don't we? The security room gives us 2 more rooms to draft. And if we get lucky, there's a key card in the security room. That would be lucky. Because that opens up both the dark room and the security door that was in the pool. But also, the security room is one piece of the puzzle along with the utility closet that could potentially unlock those key card doors. I think we take the security here. The master's bedroom is fun, and I do want to draft that at some point, but the smart pick here, I think, is the security to keep us going. We just don't have too many more ways to get gems. That's the only problem here, so our options are going to be limited going forward. And there is always something to be said about taking the room that you've not drafted yet, because who knows what clues there could be in the master bedroom to our overall puzzle. If we spend a gem on security, that does mean that we still have a gem for the locker room, but we would not have 2 gems for the office. But we would also have a gem for the patio. We could still get the patio theoretically if we kind of like weave our way around from rank 4 to rank 5, because I think we have to draft from the right. Who knows? Maybe there's a way where the patio gets rotated in a way that is favorable to us, but I get the sense that it would probably rotate things to where it's facing with a door that leads to rank 6, which means we would have to draft in from the left. Do we take the new room and kind of like boil down our run to just drafting the pool at rank 8? Or do we try to get the security room and then also draft the utility closet maybe like to the left and see if we can keep the run going by opening up those? Because we still do have 21 steps. Just barely gets us to the pool with only like 3 steps left. And maybe even less if we take some steps into the security room. So if we commit to security, we're probably actually not making it back to the pool. But we could make it back to the dark room. That would be the goal there. If we got security plus utility closet, even though we did just get that main course, it is feeling like this run doesn't have a lot of legs left. At the same time, if we get the locker room, I think the locker room is unusual. But we do have it in the pool now. Literally, the wordplay is hilarious. And with the locker room in the pool and the conference room right nearby, that could be so many keys that we just have. And we could then work our way up this side, and we would also be able to open the doors in the locker room. I'm going to take the risk here. Like, the master bedroom is the one that says, we're done with this run, and we're just going to take the intel on the new room. I want to keep the run going, man. I want to keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, man. Never say die. Never give up. Never surrender. I thought for a second that this cup of coffee was new here and that I could like take a drink and get more steps. That is look at that inviting, look at the detail on that cup of coffee. Just don't you just want to sip? Okay. All right, let's check the terminal. Estate inventory should be nothing as it is. We've been as observant as we can be. We'll set the keycard settings to say what we've said before. Give me that low setting. It's a little too late for this, but you might as well do it. We definitely change this to unlocked because who knows? We still might get that utility closet. So there we go. No key card lying around. I feel like this would be a place. If there were a key card to just be randomly found, it would make sense if it were in the security room. Okay, we draft rank 4. Less likely to be locked. God damn it. Why? Why must you be this way? Rank 5. No, motherfucker. Oh, shit. Okay. Which direction is more likely to be a locker room? Probably they're both the same probability here. Let's go to R for room directory. The locker room would make so much more sense if it is put along the wall here. So we live in the world. It's it's not even unusual. It's rare. Holy shit. You've got to be kidding me. Bro, why does it have to be this way? Okay. I guess we're living in the world where we can't draft the office anymore because we need two gems for that, correct? Unless I was looking at, it's 2 gems for the office. Shit. The patio, if you see what I mean here, the patio is arranged to where the eastern wall, I think, would have to be this fencing, which would mean it would be rotated once clockwise. So I don't even know if we can draft the patio here. Not that that would help us because we really need keys at this point. Resources. 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 This game. This freaking game. What are the chances? What are the chances that the doors here would both be locked? It does make me wonder if us getting to rank 8 influences the chance of new doors being locked, even if they're all the way back at rank 4/5. All right, we draft this one here. Let me double check, make sure I'm at the right door. We draft the one that's facing up. We try to get lucky, right? Double check. I don't think there's any other option here. This is it. This is all she wrote. There's no 2 ways around it. Let's go. That's a veranda. But we have not enough gems. A room we've never seen offered even once. And we can't afford it. I hate this game. Uninstall. Too late to get a refund, but holy shit, this game sucks. There's only one room to take here, I guess, which is the pump room. Because the pump room, you know, it's not guaranteed that the room to the left of the pump room is locked. Except it probably is because the room to the right of the dark room has a key card. So my instinct tells me that this room to the left of the pump room is also going to be locked. But we might as well, like, we don't have a shovel to dig in the furnace. So I don't see any reason to grab the furnace. So this is it. The pump room it is. The pump room. That feeling, man, when your run just doesn't fucking get there. It's a keycard door. Sure enough. Sure enough, goddammit. No trunk. No trunk. Not that we could do anything with it because we have no keys. So here we are. Once again in a pump room. And I don't think I have any reason. I have not yet made it to the greenhouse. I have no idea where the reservoir is. I could drain the pool, but I don't think I can make it back to the pool to get those coins. And even if I could, there's no shops to spend to get my fucking items. And god damn it. We didn't even end up with the utility closet, which would have given us more intel in the dark room. So I don't even, we drafted one classroom because I mean, the classrooms do cost a gem, but I still didn't understand what they did. The fact that they were all the same thing. That could have been very interesting. We could have done so much gambling, but we'd have also had to spend gems, and man alive, gems are hard to come by, guys. What the fuck? We did not draft the bunk room, but where else could we have gotten gems? We got the wine cellar, we got the storeroom, we got the den. We wasted 2 gems on the passageway. Wasted. I mean, that's debatable, right? The pick in the dark room, that could have been the key point. The key decision point might have been, hey, in order to keep this run going, you've got to roll the dice and take the dark room choice that is not going to cost you gems. You've got to get lucky there. Maybe that was the correct decision. The drafting studio was another 2-gem room, right? We added a new floor plan, and that could be the good move in the long run. But if you do that, if you take a drafting studio and you also take a passageway, you are really limiting your options to draft the super cool rooms as you're going along. The drafting studio is a super cool room, but that's another one of those decision points. Maybe you're supposed to pass it and wait until those better options. The only reason that I could conceivably want to fool around with the pump room is to refill the fountain so that I could stash some coins for a following for some day in the future. I feel like that is a small enough benefit where I don't want to do that. I'd rather just leave the fountain drained so that if and when I get whatever key opens that basement, that we can head directly down there without having to come back to the pump control. So I think we'll leave the fountain drained. And I think we'll also leave the library request, the book request form will also keep on this pump. Speaking of the pump room, we'll leave this EPCW pump system user manual checked, and maybe that will give us some more details to why we might want to do some different options with the pump room. But I think that is where we will wrap up this installment of Blueprints. There's no other choice, no other place to go, no other rooms to be drafted. We are still learning here. That's the important thing to keep in mind. Unfortunately, I did not go to enough. I should have gone to more class. I should have attended class more often today, perhaps. But that would have cost me gems. And we're learning that gems, you need them. Just like the drafting strategy, Volume 3 said, you need gems. And we also, there's important decisions to be made. We might be making a lot of suboptimal ones. There's also, you've got to keep in mind, there is RNG. You're playing a roguelike, and there's going to sometimes, you've got to be able to recognize when you're making poor decisions, and also when you're just getting bad RNG. Being able to parse those two things as to when you're getting unlucky and when you're actually making poor decisions, or maybe a bit of both, that's the challenge, is knowing when each one is the case. But it is so fascinating and exciting that we were able to get 2 of these blue torches that we didn't even know existed before these last 2 days, and we were able to get them both activated on subsequent days. I'm excited to see if there's more than 2. Feels like there might be 4. Something to discover in the future as we continue to learn and draft new rooms in the outer room each time. Maybe we'll get around to the root cellar next time. We'll have to see what the draft throws our way. So many potential combinations and ordering to be done in our draft process. But in general, we need to be better with our gems, don't we? Better is debatable. The drafting studio gets you a permanent change. But there are some points here where using those gems has definitely, in most of our drafts, I would say, has left us at a bit of a bottleneck. But keys as well. See, keys is the other resource that we ran out of here. And unless you get something like the locker room, where else are we really getting keys from? We need to do some studying and figure out how we're going to make that happen. I think, though, this is where we do call it a day. nothing else to be done but to look at our summary screen and reflect on our choices and see what we got. We got the architect's villa. The architect's villa, huh? So we've got some scaffolding up around this time. So I guess this is to show that it was in the process of coming together. Oh, I get it. It's because we have 5 drafting rooms. The pool, the classroom. Yeah, that's right. We would have gotten additional rerolls if we'd have gotten more classrooms from the pool. The pool would have counted to that. Dude, so many rerolls that were missed. So much gamba that could have been done. So we only ended up with the 2 new rooms, which I guess is the schoolhouse and the classroom. We were really unlucky with items as well. That is something, having that rabbit's foot, we never picked the mail room, so we won't have a package for tomorrow. And we only have a couple days left on our buff for the blessing of the chef. Maybe we will get that to proc at some point. Hopefully, we can get all the things to come together next time. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.